Okay, guys, it's time for our retro review segment, and this time we are going to do the 1994 Arnold Classic. Also, if there's any weird-looking edits, it's because YouTube have done us for copyright, because it's been a bit of a nightmare, isn't it, the last few weeks? Because the thing is, we didn't want to stop doing these segments because they're very popular. People really like us going back over the old shows, but it can prove to be a little bit tricky because we don't want to have the sound off completely, because you kind of lose some of the the commentary and stuff like that, and Arnold's voice and the kind of crowd and stuff. So I think it gives a bit of atmosphere. So if you see any kind of choppy looking edits, it's where we've literally, YouTube has said you cannot use that bit. So, okay, let's go to this. This is Arnold 1994. So how long ago was this? 27 years ago. I was still living in Wales then. But it looks good, doesn't he? Looks good. I'm trying to, what was the film? What was the film in 1994? What was his main film? Sorry? Total Recall was 1990. Terminator 2, 91. Kindergarten Cop, was that 94, was it? Oh, okay. Oh, look, they're giving the all the kind of the rounds, because obviously this is from, what's that channel? NBC? Is it NBC? Right, NBC. So yeah, so they're obviously just, these the people who are watching this are not familiar with bodybuilding. So this is, can you just turn it down a little bit, tiny bit, please, Karen? Wow, Vince Taylor, Aaron Baker, Chris Cormier, Porter Cottrell, and Kevin Levrone. 1993 was the emergence of Flex Wheeler. He won the 1993 Arnold Classic at 218 pounds. Now, here's Vince Taylor, who won it in 92. He came third. Was he third in 93? I think he was. Yeah, Lee Labrada was second in 92. Vince Taylor. He's doing the old Terminator routine. Fantastic. He did this for years. I think the first time he did it was at the 1991 Orlando, Florida Olympia, and the crowd just went ballistic. I must have watched it 1,000 times, and I mean that. So look at that. Who's that? Oh, get that sound down, please, mate. Get the sound down of it. Thank you. Yeah. So yeah, Vince Taylor. He looks good here. 37 years old he is here. Because he was a bit of a late starter. He was like some of the other guys, he were like 10 years younger than him, But, yeah, he had third place at the 89 Olympia. He was third at the 91 Olympia. He 92 in Helsinki, he smacked himself in the eye with a strap when he was taking his bag. Yeah, that's why he was wearing an eye patch, and he ended up holding water. But Vince Taylor was such a popular competitor. I mean, he was competing right from... Well, I'm sure the Night of Champions in 89 was his first pro show. He was still competing right up till about, was it 2010? I know he definitely did the 2006 Olympia. So he was competing a good while. He was competing well into his 40s and, 50s actually. 50s, was it? Yeah, because he made a comeback in 2006. Him, Francis Banfato, and Gary Stridham all made a comeback in 2006. But, it's Flex Wheeler, Sean Ray. Look at Sean Ray. Oh, nice jumper, Sean. What's he wearing? Oh, is that Gregory Hines? It's Tom Platz. Tom Platz there, look. Oh, Gregory Hines. Yeah, got it right. Vince Taylor, yeah. God, fantastic poser. I always thought the rest of the bodybuilders were going to give a kind of more of, it was going to up the game in terms of entertainment, but it didn't really... They didn't really step up, but like Vince did. Vince certainly did. But right, okay, come on, let's go to the next bit. Okay, here we got next. Okay, who's this now? Aaron Baker, the most underrated pro bodybuilder I think ever. Maybe him, Terry Pastel. Who else is underrated? Who else was underrated? Roland Sherlock, who was in the last retro review for the 98 Arnold Classic. But, yeah, he looks okay here. I've seen him looking better. So this was 94. 1994, that was the year he took 12th at the Olympia. Now, go and watch, if you ever get a chance to watch the 1994 Olympia, go and watch that. Because I tell you what, Aaron Baker was 12th there, and no way should he have been 12th. He should have been a good few spots higher. That was a quick routine, Aaron. So, fantastic bodybuilder. Amazing readable bicep.
can see here in the calves that he really needs much more
What?
muscle development. He needs
Aaron Baker had fantastic calves. What are you talking about, Arnold? What, well, maybe this was when he improved his calves. Oh, Aaron Baker was awesome. He used to dress as Batman for guest posings. Really good. He's really good. He did some stuff in films. Hang on a minute. $90,000. I'm sure it was 100,000 at the 92. I must be mistaken. Wow, good young bodybuilders, Chris Cormier. He was young once. And there's his training partner, Flex Wheeler, who won it the year before. I wonder if, hang on, Flex looks okay there. I wonder if that was before he had the car accident, because he looks quite well there. But this was Chris Cormier's first year as a pro. Hang on a minute. Who's he? He's posing to Vince Taylor's music. Yeah, you can see this is a very, very young version of Chris Cormier. So just turn it down a little bit, please, mate. So yeah, so that's Chris Cormier. Yeah, so Chris Cormier, that was he turned pro in '93 at the '93 USA's, following in the footsteps of his training partner Flex Wheeler. And then in '94 he did the Arnold Classic, and he actually made top 6 at the Olympia that year in his first year. And then his career just went to, he just continually improved. But Chris Cormier looks so young here, looks so cool. They said he looked like Evander Holyfield. That's why they called him the real deal. All right. Yeah. And that's, if you ever see the photo shoot he did with Ronnie Coleman with the boxing gloves on. They both had boxing gloves on. That was see, I wasn't that crazy on Chris Cormier's physique at the start. I thought it was I wasn't crazy about his physique. I thought it was just nothing really popped out to me. But then I saw him at the 1997 British Grand Prix, and he took second. He beat Nasser, he beat Ronnie, he beat everyone apart from Kevin Navarone, who won it. And I was just blown away. I couldn't believe how good he was. So I was really turned around on the subject. There's the old Veterans Theatre. I think it's been torn down now. I like the Arnold Classics. My first one was in 2011. And Branch Warren won that one. Wow. Oh, Sonny Schmidt there in the background. Sonny Schmidt. I like seeing all the backstage stuff. Oh, Chris. What a career he had. And what a great guy. Still so involved in the industry. Okay, who's that? Oh, it was Kevin Navarone. See, Kevin Navarone was still coming back. Well, he wasn't coming back from the pec tear because he did that 5 months before the 93 Olympia. Completely tore it. Paul Dillette. Oh, this is before Paul Dillette got carried off stage. Was it this one? Yeah. Paul Dillette froze up and he had to be carried off stage. Yeah, diuretics. His body completely froze. And they reckon he would have won it. So, Porter Cottrell, another guy, fantastic. He made top 6. Yeah, he was top 6 at the Olympia. Hang on, I just said Chris Cormier was 6th. Was he 5th? Yeah, he was 5th. Chris Cormier was 6th in the 94 Olympia. But Porter was a guy who won the Night of Champions in 1993. He won he won at least 3 or 4 pro shows. Night of Champions in 93. He was second to Kevin Navarone in 92. But this was the guy that Ronnie Coleman thought was overrated. He said that. He said, I can't. Yeah, but the thing is, Ronnie, he's a size freak, isn't he? He only respects, unbelievably huge muscle. But Porter Cottrell, he was very much kind of like a Lee Labrada type physique, where he was just beautiful symmetry, great presentation. And here we go. What does Arnold say about him? What? Oh, Arnold, come on. Yeah. I'm finding myself disagreeing with Arnold Schwarzenegger. Yeah, Porter Cottrell. He was amazing. I forget when his last show. I saw him at the British Grand Prix in 94, actually. That year, the same year. Oh, there's Sharon Bruneau. Is that Yolanda? There's Laura Cravell. So here we are. This Kevin Navarone. This was a big win for Kevin Navarone. Oh, spoiler alert. First after pre-gen. He was a lot smaller for this one, but I think sometimes he looked He looked good, not better, smaller. Some people said he looked better, sorry. Very young there. But he only turned pro in 91 at the NPC Nationals. Porter Cottrell won the light heavies. 92, he was second to Porter Cottrell. I think it was Chicago. A week later, won the Night of Champions. 1992, went to Helsinki, Finland, came second to Dorian Yates. See, it was on about his pec tear. And then for 4 or 5 months before the 93 Olympia, he tore his pec completely off the bone, like Ryan Crowley did, completely off. But he managed to get a really good surgery that basically stapled it into his armpit. Oh, look, this must be a surgeon. Turn it up, please, mate. Yeah.
Come on, champ. You know what you got to do.
So, is he saying he's been using machines?
Got such a good result. Well, I put it back, and God healed the wounds. But it's strictly a testament to his determination and hard work.
Is that Metallica in the background?
I had to get in that Olympia, and I had to walk on that stage, and I had to
God, look how young he is there. He's 50, I think he's 56 now, Kevin Levrone. He looks bloody good for it, Mines.
After 8 months.
Made his comeback in 2016.
3 months of training.
You know?
And placed fifth.
Yeah, turn it down a bit, please, mate. Yeah. 3-4 months of training, and he still placed fifth at the Mr. Olympia. It was one of the most incredible things. And not only that, he actually came back bigger than he did in 92. So, turn it down, please, mate. I don't want to get bloody copyright. So, yeah. To be honest, Kevin Levrone is my all-time favourite bodybuilder. Him and Phil Heath, you know, from 2 different eras. But also probably my favourite poser. Yeah, you can see he's a little bit smaller than he was at the 93 Olympia. But he was super shredded here. I mean, the glutes, the hamstrings, he's ripped to shreds here. But, yeah, I prefer him. I prefer him bigger. I prefer the look he had when he won the Arnold Classic for the second time in 1996, where it was literally flip of a coin between him and Flex Wheeler, because Flex Wheeler looked bloody good that year. See, look at the pec. You can't see the tear at all. Fantastic surgery he had. Saved his career, that surgeon. But, I mean, the shoulders are ridiculous. Do you know he can press... Well, at that time, he was pressing behind the neck on a Smith machine, 4 plates. No, seriously, he was. If you watched it on Maryland Muscle Machine, if you watch the video, MM3, Flex Wheeler watching. He's like, yeah, watching you for the Olympia, buddy. Actually, Flex Wheeler didn't do the 94 Olympia because that was when he had the... so it was, I think it would have been after this that Flex Wheeler had the car accident and he broke his neck. And he was out for a few months, you know. So, yeah, I prefer him bigger, I'll be honest. Yeah, I definitely prefer him bigger. The only smaller look version of Kevin Levrone I like was when he got second at the 92 Olympia. And I saw him the day after at the British Grand Prix. Literally one day after. And, yeah, he looked tremendous there. Because I had him on the show, and I told him about he posed a Michael Jackson jam, and he disagreed with me. He says, "No, I didn't." I said, "No, I remember it very, very well." Arnold's angle. What's he saying?
And the outside of the back, the V shape, the deltoids, the trapezius muscles.
Look at this.
Also, his arms have been a lot from behind. So all that is very important to.
Right, he's saying he needs more back. Well, that is what Kevin Levrone certainly did. I mean, God, I think. People criticise Kevin Levrone for his back, and I always thought he had an amazing back. So here we go. Sharon Bernot. I met her at the 2001 Olympia. She was taller than I thought. Who's that? Is that Debbie Yolanda Parsons, is it? Landa Hughes? Kim Chesevsky. I think Kim Chesevsky won this one. She ended up winning 4 Olympias as well. Is that... I forget the name of this one. Oh, Laura Cravell there. She used to be married to Chris Aceto. She was amazing. Beautiful physique. So, Laura Cravell. Oh, she won. Laura Cravell won. Sorry? She's white. She had a lovely, lovely readable bicep. Beautiful shape. Absolutely beautiful shape. So this was in the years when Arnold would actually meet people, do meet and greets to try and... I think it was to sell more VIP tickets. And Arnold would be stood there for hours. Look at this. All these people wanting like a 5-second photograph with Arnold. He's such a grafter, Arnold. Look at that suit. Look at the 90s suit. Oh, bless him. Oh, what a legend. There's Jim Lorimer there. His partner. They've been partners since 18... Flavio Bascianini. 4'11" he was. It's shorter than you. Yeah, he was... He's kind of... Is he a midget? He's not quite as he was he looked good at the '93 Olympia. You know, he actually got. Do you know he got a call out with Lou Ferrigno, and then Lou Ferrigno patted him on the head. In fact, I might see if we can find that footage. He was fantastic though. He got some good placings as well. He got very, very good conditioning. Flavio Bascianini. Yeah, he competed for a few years. Got shredded. Sorry? Still around. Missed the cut. Paul Dillette. I don't. No. I've not seen or heard of him for years. Do you see there? It said missed the cut. Paul Dillette, because Paul Dillette got carried off stage, and he was there. I spoke to Peter McGough actually, and he says, yeah, Paul would have won that, but you know, he didn't finish the show, didn't get to compete in the finals, so unfortunately, he didn't win. He didn't win because wasn't able to enter. Andreas Munzer. He passed away in '96. Look at them shoving each other. Look at Aaron. Who you got then? Who you got for this one, mate? You got the Vince Taylor, won it in '92, third in '93. You got Porter Cottrell. You got Chris Cormier, the newcomer, the newbie. Aaron Baker looked bloody good there, mind. I just loved the pop of his physique. I just felt like he never got the right place in. Porter Cottrell always did very, very well. There he is there, look. Porter Cottrell. Vince Taylor looks good, mind. Kevin Levrone, isn't it? Well, Kevin Levrone's my favourite, so I'm going to say Kevin Levrone. And he did win it, so... What else you got? Look at the crowds. It's a who's who in that crowd, you know. All the big names in the industry. So, I think... I'm trying to think of the placings. I think Chris Cormier was 6th. I can't remember the placings of this show now. Let's wait and see. Barry DeMay. Wow. Barry DeMay's all-time high placing was when he took 3rd in '88. And then they went to him, Aaron Baker and a few others went over to the WBF. Look at Chris. Wow. He's a good-looking dude, though. Fair play. Good-looking dude. Very handsome chap. Wow, Mariah Shriver. Is that Arnold's mum? No. She didn't die in '94. You sure? Okay. I recognise her. Vince Taylor won most muscular man. Oh, Vince Taylor got 2nd. Because you always get, if you get the most muscular award, you get 2nd place. Who's that? 6th place. Oh, 4th place. See, that's not bad. 4th place in your first. That probably would have been his 2nd pro show. He probably did the Ironman maybe the week before. Then went to the Arnold Classic and took 4th place less than a year after turning pro. Porter Cottrell. Porter Cottrell, 3rd place. Wow, he had a fantastic career though. Really good career. Yeah, always placed well. Always placed well. Very nice symmetry, lovely balance. Yeah. Then I think the sport just got a bit too freaky for guys like Porter, you know. So 2nd place is the '92 Arnold Classic champion, 3rd the year before. So Kevin or Vince? Oh, Kevin looks good, doesn't he? Come on! Everyone's shouting. Yeah, Vince Taylor. Yeah, once you get that most muscular award, it's the kiss of death. You know you got 2nd. Although, who won the Arnold? Somebody got both, didn't they, recently? Oh, who was it? I can't think. The person who won the Arnold last year. I can't remember who it was. I was there. Oh my God, my mind's gone completely blank. Well, Ramy was 3rd. Dex. Oh, it was Bonac. Yeah, no, I tell you it was Mike Francois we had on 95. He won the Arnold Classic in 1995. He won the most muscular award because we interviewed him a few weeks ago, and I said, "You got the most muscular award." Turn it up a little bit. Let's have a listen to this.
What does it mean to you?
Me winning this contest means a lot to me, Arnold.
Look how drawn and sunken in his face is. He dieted hard for this.
After the injury, I wanted to get here last year, but I couldn't make it, so I had to go back to the drawing board and train harder and come back. It also
2 Arnold Classics he won, 94 and 96.
To further my career. I'm involved.
In fact,
with a
I
lot
think
of
the
charities,
1994
you know,
Olympia
helping
version of
everything.
Kevin Navarone when he was
Title
third
actually helped me
is
champion in their eyes as
it's
well.
in
When
my
did
one of
you
my
feel
all-time
that
favorite
you
versions
finally
of Kevin
had it and
Navarone.
that You won the competition.
Arnold's interview questions. It's so lame.
And the middle of my closing routine, I
Wow.
noticed
I wonder what he weighed here. I bet he couldn't have weighed more than
doing something right.
230,
And it wasn't
220,
until after the
230.
routine, that's when I felt really good.
Well, congratulations, and
He looks
I
happy,
hope you
doesn't he?
come back. Thank you.
Come on, smile, Kevin. Vince Taylor looks happy with second. Porter Cottrell, Aaron Baker, Chris Cormier. Actually, don't mention the Arnold Classic to Chris Cormier when he's on, okay? Later. Because he had, what was it, 7 second places? Right, okay, that's... Right, okay, well, that was it. Yeah, that was the end of the... that was the end of the show. Right, okay, I hope you've enjoyed this 1994 Arnold Classic retro review. Hopefully we won't have any copyright strikes because they're a pain in the ass to edit. But so we'll be doing more of these. So if there's any particular years of any shows you'd like us to review from, like 25, this was 20, can you believe that's 27 years ago, this show? And, this was the second biggest bodybuilding show in the world. And, it was, and also it was a good precursor for the Olympia as well, because it kind of, I bet Dorian Yates would have been watching this with interest, seeing who was looking good and who was kind of on the up. Newcomers like Chris Cormier coming 4th place in their first Arnold Classic. You right there, mate? You're rustling away there. So, right, okay, I hope you enjoyed this retro review, and we'll be back next week for more Arnold Classic retro reviews. And guys, we are out.
Arnold did improve year by year. If you think, the Arnold that beat Sergio originally in 1970 was so much better in 74, 73 Arnold. Sergio was fantastic, but did he progress year by year after a certain time? I don't think so.
Yeah. And Arnold in 1973, after that controversial 72, he came back to 73 better than ever. I mean, 73 and 74 were his best years. But, the thing about 73 is, too, that's when they wrote the book Pumping Iron. So Charles Gaines and George Butler were in New York to watch that 73 Olympia. If Sergio would have been in that, he would have been part of the book. So he really missed a great opportunity to really get publicity. And then they probably would have put him in the movie. They probably would have wanted to be in the movie, too. So he really missed by sitting out 73.
I think 73 to 75 Olympias, I think would have been really, they would have been additionally special if Sergio had been there as well, wouldn't he?
Oh yeah, because he had the personality. He was really something to see, and he had the personality and the charisma that Arnold had. So it would have really made for a much greater addition to the book and movie.
Did you ever train with either Sergio or Arnold, John?
No, I was too young, I think, when Sergio was around in Chicago. But I did see him guest pose once, and I saw him a lot at the competitions. Like I said, he would always be there handing out trophies and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Peter? Anything to add, Peter?
No, I never competed with them.
No, I said anything to add, Peter.
They were frightened. They retired before
before you hit your stride
into the swing.
Okay, then, guys. Right, let's talk about the next topic. This is a topic you both came up with. The 1983 win of Samir Banu. You both had different kind of slants on the subject of Samir winning 83. So tell us your thoughts.
Sorry, who are you asking, John?
Yeah, you, Peter, first.
I think as time goes by, there's two things happening. We're moving into an age now where, bodybuilders, for the most part, even at the professional level, are, for want of a better word, bulkier than they used to be. The streamlined waist and the serratus and the vacuum isn't as important. And the more I see photos of Samir now, particularly in 1983 when he won the Olympia, I'm almost getting to the point of thinking, is that the ideal physique? Everything is there. He was superbly defined. He was in proportion. He was dry as a bone. He was full. and he was only 200 pounds. I mean, I saw a shot just yesterday that he put up. He's doing a kneeling shot, and he's putting his arm out almost straight, and yet the bicep is there. You know, I mean, it's just a tremendous shot. The sort of cleanness of the muscles and everything. That do we go back and say, is that the classic physique? Is that the best physique? You know, I never felt like that maybe 4 or 5 years ago, but as I go by, I think that was a really, really complete physique that he hit it on the nail that one year. In fact, he hit it on the nail in '82, but didn't get rewarded for it. And again in '85 at the WABA World Championships, he was tremendous. So Samir is, you know, I look back on that physique and think, wow, that really was a hell of a physique that, to me, has got better after time as you reflect on the shots from 35 years ago.
John, would you say that at that Olympia that he won in 1983, would you say that was the greatest bodybuilding back ever seen to that point?
Possibly. 1980 was really a fantastic show too. You had a lot of great champions on stage all at once in 1980. But what was interesting to me about 1983 was the judging, because you had such a different variety of physiques on stage. And there was, of course, no classical physique back then. And there was no weight divisions. It was just one class. So you had Samir, who had a great classic physique. And then you had Muhammad McAway, who, again, a smaller guy, really ripped, very classical posing. And then you had Frank Zane in his last competition, who was not at his best, a little lighter, but very ripped. And then you had guys like Bertil Fox, who was massive, super big, and then probably at his best shape ever. And then you had Lee Haney competing in his first Olympia, who was not really at his best, but he was definitely a bigger guy.
23 years old he was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you had this combination of big guys and more symmetrical guys, and they were all on stage, and the judges had to pick who was the best. And you look at the way it was laid out. Samir took first, McAway took second, Lee Haney was third, Zane was fourth, and Bertil Fox was fifth. So you had the big guys in the classical physiques sort of interspersed. So that was a show where the judges were really taking into account every round. They were really looking at the symmetry round, then they were looking at the muscularity round, and they were also judging the posing round. So that's why someone like McAway could go all the way up to second, because his posing was so good. So it was really an interesting contest from that perspective. And then after that, you know, a few years down the road, it became more about size. But if you go back to '83, it was still being judged with that symmetry and shape and the posing ability in mind. So it was really unique.
Did you agree with the top five, Peter?
Yeah, I would have had Bertil a bit higher. You know, I think he was, where would I have had him? Yeah, I think he would have been ahead of Zane and been pushing Haney. He really would. I mean, you got to remember, Arnold was in the audience, and when Bertil had finished, he stood up and said, that is Mr. Olympia. You know, he declared this to everybody.
Yeah.
You know, because it was you know, you see the video of 1983, and Fox is absolutely amazing. You know, never really hit that peak again, and maybe that's, you know, it sort of deflated him a little bit, because I think he should have definitely been higher. And a lot of people saying he should have won, like Arnold said. So, you know, that wouldn't have helped his mood. You know.
Were you at that Mr. Olympia, to the both of you?
I was
there. Yeah.
You were there.
Yeah, and it was a tremendous contest. I mean, Albert Busek promoted it in Munich, Germany, at the Olympia Hall, where they did the Olympics in '72. So it was a really prestigious contest, and funnily enough, it's how you remember certain things. James Gobert, who was lightweight champion of the world in same year as Lee Haney won in '82. He didn't finish in the top 10, but when he walked out, I thought, what is wrong with that physique? It was so neat and so put together. You know, this lightweight guy, everybody was in shape. That's the big thing about the contest then. I tend to get a feeling as we watch Olympias, not just recent ones, but even going back 20 years, you get a lineup of 15 or 16 guys and you think, wow, they're all going to be in shape. And then in the end, only 4 or 5 are really in shape. Back then, it was the other way around. There'd be 15 guys and 3 or 4 of them maybe weren't in top shape. Maybe it's something to do with, maybe you do too much to prepare for a contest these days, tinkering around at the last minute. It doesn't always work out.
What was the response to the feeling when Lee Haney did you guys straight away say this guy is going to be one of the greatest of all time?
Yeah, well, he started off really strong. I mean, when he came in and won the Nationals and then the Universe, I think everybody was impressed with his physique. But then when he went to the pro division, I remember watching I think it was the Pro World Championships on TV. It was on television, and McGough won that. Mm-hmm. And I think DeFaro got second and Lee got third, but Robbie Robinson was fourth. And I remember in the pose down, Lee Haney posing next to Robbie, and I was like, man, he made Robbie look small. They got the same kind of physiques, but he made Robbie look small. And then he won the Night of the Champions, and he took third in his first Olympia. So it was obvious this guy was going to be a superstar in the sport. He just had it all. He had that small waist. He was a real big guy. He knew how to pose. He had a really pleasant demeanor also on stage. He wanted to win, but he was always smiling. And I'll never forget, after his first Olympia, they had a bunch of Grand Prix, and McAway won them all. And I think they had like 3 or 4 of them. And I think Bertil Fox actually beat Lee in the first one. But then after that one, I think Bertil Fox might have dropped out, and Haney was taking second. And at the last one in London, Haney had really improved every one, and he was more ripped. And a lot of people thought he could have beat the smaller McAway, and McAway won. And Lee picked him up in his arms. And it was a photo that made all the magazines, and that just showed this guy acts like a champion even when he loses. Yeah. So you could see the fact that this guy was going to be a great champion.
So at 23 years old, was he the biggest guy on stage at the 1983 Mr. Olympia?
He would have been close to it. I mean, I always remember when he did pick McGough up. The obvious photo caption was Muhammad goes to the mountain. And the thing about Lee was that year, 83, he came back in 84. He was 8 or 9 pounds heavier, maybe 10 pounds.
Yeah.
His arms had improved. He'd improved. And he came in as hard as hell in New York. As soon as he walked out, it was like, it's done. There's nobody going to beat this guy tonight. He was so rock hard and full. In fact, he wasn't as good the following year in 85. He was much better in 84.
Really?
Yeah, my opinion, yeah. Well, a lot of people's opinion, because Al Beckles was second in 85, and there were some people saying, Al pushed him more than was probably should have been the case a year before. He wouldn't have pushed him as hard as that. Yeah.
One question I'd like to ask, because the year after, I've seen the video of the 1984 Olympia, and Samir, he was 5th place, wasn't he? Sixth. 5th or 6th, yeah. And I remember he obviously wasn't very happy being the reigning Mr. Olympia, because to me he looked almost as good as he did when he won the year before. Well, did you agree with that placing?
No, I think he was unfairly placed. He was definitely not as good as 83. I think he tried to come in a little bit bigger, and then he lost. The thing about Samir was he had that beautiful symmetry of small waist. So when he tried to come in bigger, he ruined his lines, and he was a little bit off in 84. But I thought that was pretty harsh, taking a reigning Mr. Olympia and going all the way down to 6th. I mean, he wasn't that far off. So I thought he should have been 3rd, maybe 4th at the worst.
Peter?
Yeah, I would have had him up there. I would have had him better than Wilcosh, who was 3rd, I believe, wasn't he? Yeah. It was. You've got to remember. I mean, Samir won the Olympia, and then I'm not saying he got distracted, but he was a very busy man for a year. And maybe he didn't come in looking the same as he did in 83. And often that sort of counts against you. You're judged against your best rather than how you look on the day against other guys who are on stage.
I think what happens is when they become Mr. Olympia, they're just either inundated, they're in demand. I think the same happened with Jay Cutler in 2006. He came back in 2007, and he really wasn't as good as he was any of the previous years, even when he was getting second to Ronnie Coleman. And he kind of, it's like, I think maybe they're taking guest appearances and stuff, and they're doing it too, leaving it too late just to kind of, because obviously there's a lot of opportunity coming their way, and I think sometimes they do get a little bit distracted, possibly. Do you think that's fair?
Yeah. I mean, and Samir wouldn't mind us saying that. Samir was the guy who was always involved. He always wanted to be something happening. He wasn't a recluse, so he would get involved in things, out of a sense of fun or being busy, or he used to love the attention. So, he wasn't somebody who hid himself away. He was out there to show, I'm Mr. Olympia and I'm proud of it, and rightly so.
And he's still training so hard and still so passionate and still doing ab selfies on Instagram. It's I think it's amazing to see that all these years later, the guy is still got the passion burning bright,
Yeah, he loves bodybuilding, no doubt about it. He really does.
Well, one of the things about Samir, I mean, I had a mixed relationship with him in the early days, but it's all settled down now.
You sure?
He until he sees this interview. I'm trying to think if I know anybody who can assess a physique better. And I don't mean just top physiques. I mean, if you're sitting at the Nationals with him and a guy comes on who's going to be 8th or 9th, he'll analyze that guy and tell you exactly what he needs to do, what's out of balance, what's this. He's got that eye, and his knowledge of bodybuilders. He's one of those guys you can hold up silhouettes of guys, and he knows them all. You can't fool him with anything. He's really deep-seated a fan of bodybuilding, and he's always willing to give praise where praise is due. He's not bitching about things. And
does a very good impression of Joe Weider.
Oh, he does, yeah.
Yeah.
I've said it before, he does a good one of Ben Weider as well, and does them both together.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Fantastic. Okay, then let's go on to the final subject we're going to talk about in this Olympia history segment. It's the 1995 Mr. Olympia. That was Dorian's 92, 93. That was Dorian's 4th Olympia win. And tell us, Peter, why it was so special, that particular Mr. Olympia.
Well, it was the 30th anniversary of the Olympia. So it was thought that it would be a nice touch to get all the Mr. Olympias. There was only 9 up to that point on stage at the same time. And of course, the big catch would be Arnold. Now, Arnold was in the middle of making the movie Eraser, and the Olympia was in Atlanta that year. And he agreed to come. He took a private flight out there. But I was backstage all the time. He was supposed to arrive before the evening, and the evening would open with all the Mr. Olympias being presented. But he was in New York to do wardrobe fittings, and it got later and later and later. And he didn't arrive till sometime after 9 o'clock. Wayne DeMille just kept on, let's put it on hold, and run the contest, And I'll always remember this. Arnold came back, and Wayne said, okay, thank you very much for coming. So we're going to introduce all the other guys, and then we're going to bring you out last because you made this special, effort to be here. And I've got it written down. Arnold said, no. Why don't we all just stand there behind the curtain in the order that we won the title, and then raise the curtain so the crowd can see us all lined up at once? I don't want to be presented as someone special. I have no ego in this. I'm just one of the 9, which was tremendous. That was, maybe Arnold wouldn't have done that 10 years before. He would have been, I'll be the center of attraction.
Yeah.
But that's what made it. They all came out, and there's Larry Scott, then there's Sergio, then there's Arnold, then there's Franco, then there's Zane, then there's Dickerson. They're all there, right up to Dorian Yates, who was competing in the contest. He was the last one on. And they were all, Joe Weider was there. Joe Weider spoke about them, gave a little anecdote about each of the guys. They gave an anecdote about Joe, what Joe meant to the Olympia. And it really was a tremendous, tremendous night. You know, a lot of people just stood there in awe, like, wow, you'll never see this again. And we never did see it again. There were other occasions where multiple Mr. Olympias were lined up, but not all of them that won. And of course, now it's not possible because Joe's not here, Larry Scott's not here, Sergio's not here. So that was just a one-off, unique experience. And I sort of look upon it as one of the greatest nights I've ever witnessed in bodybuilding. You know, I just remember it all. And Franco was the funniest because he told a story about how they tried to get Joe to drink wine as they asked him for a pay rise. And Joe sort of said something like, well, if you deadlift 700 pounds, you can have the pay rise. And Franco did it, but Joe said to him, you're actually a lazy bastard, Franco. This was Franco telling the story, you know. And he sussed out that they were trying to fool him to get the rise, you know. And but of course, Franco telling a story is much funnier than me relating it. If you get the tape, you know, it's very, very funny. And all the guys were talking about Joe. A really warm experience, you know. Yeah.
Were you there, John?
No, I wish I would have, because I was going to a lot of those shows back then. I wish I would have made the trip. If I would have known they were going to do that, I'm sure I would have, because, you know, those old days of bodybuilding are my favorite. But like Peter said, that really was a great experience when they just raised that curtain. And I think the audience just took in everybody, and they're like, "Oh my God, Arnold's here too!" You know, and it was like a once in a lifetime experience. Because, like you said, it'll never happen again now, because we've lost 3 of those Mr. Olympias already, and we lost Joe Weider as well. So it really was a magical experience.
So no one knew that was going to happen before it happened.
No,
it wasn't announced, and certainly the crowd didn't know about it. And Arnold was the big surprise. You know, there he was at the height of his film career, you know, taking time out. You know, it's never ceased to amaze me how loyal he does stay to bodybuilding. You know, I mean, he left New York, I don't know, 7 o'clock that night, got to Atlanta at 2. They had a police escort to the backstage, and he arrived. No, that's English sirens, isn't it?
Yes, it is. I concur.
And then for him to sort of be, you know, take the courteous way, we're all equals here, you know, we all won the Mr. Olympia, there's no pecking order, you know, it was tremendous. Yeah.
I think I remember seeing actually in the photograph that Dorian actually smiled in that picture as well.
Yeah, that was a moment to savor. Yeah, he wasn't that happy because he was still competing, you know.
Yeah,
and he was still committed to being in the contest. He came on in his tracksuit and said a few nice things about Joe, and then went back to concentrating on winning his 4th. Was it? Fourth. Yeah.
So which of the Mr. Olympias would you say either of you were closest to? John?
Closest to? What do you mean?
In terms of friendship or... Yeah, friendship.
Oh, Mr. Olympia winners.
Yeah.
I know Samir Bannout pretty good. I've interviewed Frank Zane. I've interviewed Chris Dickerson. I've interviewed Samir. Never got a chance to interview Franco. I don't really know Arnold. I met him a couple times, but I'm sure he doesn't know who I am. So I guess probably Samir, who I still have a relationship with today.
Peter?
Well, I mean, just by geographical circumstance, you know, Dorian Yates, I mean, I knew him before he won his first contest, and, you know, we became very close friends. You know, we're if I dare to say it, we're a bit similar. You know, we both got the same back development.
Everybody says that, Peter.
He's got better lower lat insertions, definitely.
Right, yeah. They just like to see the back of me. Everybody says to me, I love seeing Peter McGough's back, you know. But anyway, you know, and we've spent a lot of time together before contests, talking and hanging around hotel rooms and stuff. But also, I got pretty close to Lee Haney. You know, I bonded with him from the first moments I saw him, and it's always been a warm relationship with him. You know, so you know, very lucky in some ways. But yeah, definitely just by the fact that we're from the same country and lived 40 miles apart, you know, I had more opportunities to mix with Dorian and follow him through the whole thing. You know, I mean, his last, when he retired in 98, he announced his retirement at the 98 Olympia in Madison Square Garden.
It was FIBO, wasn't it? He announced it. I thought it was FIBO. He announced it.
No, he announced it at the 98 Olympia. He told people he wouldn't be doing the 98 Olympia because of the tricep injury.
Oh, that
but
Olympia.
Then as he got,
okay.
It would be back in 99.
Right.
But then as the year went on, he realised he wouldn't be able to do it. And he announced it from the stage at the beginning of the contest that Ronnie won. And I ended up backstage with him and his wife, Debbie. And, you know, that was 97 and our relationship had started in 85. I'd seen him at all the contests. And Debbie said to me, you know, only us three know exactly what he's gone through. You know, we were all there from the beginning, you know, and we've got to this point now where, you know, that's the end of that period of his life. Yeah. And the funny thing is, you see, we're British. We don't do this hugging and kissing and high-fiving thing. And that's the first time me and Dorian ever hugged when he retired. You know, even when he won, it was just a handshake. It wasn't a big, you know, my man's won, you know. It was, I look back at it as a very touching moment to say, yeah, there was only the three of us that were there right at the beginning and right at the end.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and I have to say, like, Lee Haney and Dorian Yates are great champions now. Like, on my podcast, when I asked them to do interviews, they were like, yep, right away. And they'll sit with you. I mean, I think Lee Haney talked to me for over 2 hours, and Dorian called me on the day of his wife's birthday and sat with me for an hour and a half. And they're just great champions that they'll, and they're great interviews also, especially Dorian, who's become a lot more introspective about his career and about, he can really talk about his feelings, his motivations, and his attitude during that time. He might have been kind of quiet during those years, but now that he's retired, he's really a great interview, and he's really someone great to talk to about bodybuilding.
John, where can we find those interviews?
Bodybuildinglegendshow.com is the website, and then I do the Bodybuilding Legends podcast each week on your local podcast station, Apple iTunes or Spotify or Stitcher.
Fantastic. So which one's your favorite? You can tell us.
Interviews?
Yeah, which one's your favorite?
I'll tell you, Boyer Coe is a great interview.
Was he?
He's very honest. He's got great stories. Every time I talk to him, he's got some really great stories. And he's got a great memory. He remembers all the little details. Like he told me at the time he met Sergio Oliva at the Junior Mr. America, and they had to wait for the weightlifting contest to get over with before they could compete. And Sergio was much younger then, and he was only like 190 pounds, but they were all blown away by him. And they had a tape measure back there, and they measured his waist and his thighs, and his thighs were 28 and his waist was 27.
Wow.
Yeah, it was amazing.
Yeah, Boyer Coe's a great guy. I remember I got to know him quite well when I moved to California in 92. And for the 92 Olympia, which was held in Helsinki, we'd hired a charter flight, and we all flew to Helsinki by way of Copenhagen. And I sat next to Boyer all the way. And the education he gave me about the history of bodybuilding, and he was always so honest. You know, a lot of guys, it's always a spin on them, you know, how they bring themselves into it. But Boyer he's a true gentleman. He's honest as the day is long. And he was so interesting. You know, I was just fascinated by the whole conversation.
I agree.
And welcome back to MD Global Muscle here at the On the Rise Media Studio with me, your host, Giles Thomas. And we're joined for this very special split screen, Chris Cormier and Toney X-Man Freeman. Yes!
Yeah. I'm digging that right there.
He's digging
How
it.
you doing, Tony?
Very well, man. How you doing?
Good, man. Good to see you again.
Good to see you too.
Tony.
Yeah,
Tony.
Yeah,
so,
I told Giles we got to get you on here, man. So we got to get my boy Tone on here.
Yeah,
I appreciate that.
Yeah, man.
I appreciate it.
As soon as we can see you.
Can you see me?
Right there. Stay right there. Don't move.
All right.
Go ahead, Giles.
Yeah, so Tony, I was speaking to Chris, and I said, "Come on!" I said, "We've had you on with Dorian now. We've had you on with Melvin Anthony." I says, "Who would you really, really like to get on?" And he says, "Toney Freeman, man. We got to get him on." So, Tony, thank you so much for joining us, mate. And it's good to speak to you again because I've not spoke to you for ages.
It's been a minute.
Yeah.
I think Sean won the Olympia last time we saw each other.
Sean Roden, of course. Yeah, it was 2019 it was. That was correct, yeah.
Yeah.
So
when I had Nico with me.
That's correct. So how have you been, Tony? How's it going?
Man, I'm doing really well. I've had a tumultuous last 3 years, but out on the other side good. So I'm happy.
Good.
I'm happy.
So what do you want to ask him then, Chris? What do you want to talk about, mate?
Yeah, I just want to know we could start from the top with what's been going on the last 3 years, but let's start from the beginning.
Right.
When we met,
that was 93, right? Right. When you won the USA?
Won the USA.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then Tony, you were coming out to Venice quite a few times. You were at one point competing, then you wasn't competing for a while, correct?
Yeah.
And then you start coming out, and this is like one of my Tony gave me a lot of support getting ready for the shows, those Ironmans. Like a lot of people realize that, but he was coming up just to give me some support, and he was even doing some babysitting for me during the show, just whatever he can do to help me be as focused as possible. Playing PlayStation with me, all this stuff, taking a whipping on the Madden.
Right? Damn. I was like, y'all got that California cheat code. That ain't right. I was like, that's not even football. Yeah, you beat me pretty bad. So I think my claim to fame, as far as Chris goes, is I think I've seen the best Chris Cormier ever, in my opinion. I've seen you at a lot of shows, but 254, like a couple of days out before the Arnold when Ronnie won, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah. I think you won the Ironman and then you went and got second at the Arnold.
Yeah.
And in between there, remember I was out on your porch for like 3 hours. You was asleep. Anyway.
Yeah.
That was the best Chris Cormier I ever seen. And like I seen you turn pro. I seen you win all your shows, and that transitional period between the Ironman and the Arnold, you was like 254. It was ridiculous.
Yeah, actually, I actually say that sometimes. Like, even if it wasn't a show that day, there's plenty of times, or whatever time of the day it is, or whatever how your chemistry is that day, or holding water or not holding water that day. There's been a day where myself, some of the big names, they probably was the best human being on earth that day.
Yep.
Physically.
Yep. I used to say that all the time, actually.
And sometimes it don't happen at the show, but it does happen. Sometimes you don't make it that mark at the show, but that's just something I always thought about that. But yeah, go ahead, Tony. Tell them about the our the things we went through before the show and all that stuff from your point.
Just the whole, how you dial it in, how you really, you make those. I think you was working with Chad at the time, and me, I'm a bodybuilding fan, and to be that close, to see you actually peaking, in the moment, and knowing that you actually had a whole nother week to go, and I was just like, man, this shit is crazy. I was like, because I had just left Ronnie. See, that's what I don't think I told you. I had just left Ronnie's house. I did tell you that, but I was at Ronnie's house like 2 weeks before that. It was like 3 weeks out. He was like 277. He ended up competing at like 240. So Molly back then was off the chain. So it was an incredible time.
For sure.
So the 2001 Arnold, you're saying that Chris and Ronnie, you saw a week out and you thought they looked even better there than they did on stage?
Way better. I mean, to the point where, I mean, most people just wouldn't believe the difference. Like, they still looked amazing, still battled it out. But before that water pill hit you, when you done really like went all the way down with the carbs and then you done came all the way back up with the carbs right before you try to dry out or whatever, you in that twilight zone where you're saying like, okay, well, I'm full, I'm hard, I'm lean. Now I just need to dry it out. And then I think that's where the magic kind of goes away. I mean, it makes you look better under the lights, but that gym, you know, dry gym look, full pump, that's what people just don't really get to see.
For sure.
They don't get to see. I call it the total body erection. They don't get to see that, Chris. You know exactly. You see that? He know exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, and you can see it sometime when people do photo shoots. But go ahead, guys. Sorry about that.
Sorry, I've just got a funny memory of one of my someone I was hosting with, and he said he got it mixed up, and he said, "Tell us that show when you had a full body orgasm." And Toney says, "No, Lord. It's a full body erection. There's a big difference."
That's a huge difference.
Yeah.
Huge difference.
Big difference.
Yeah. Full body orgasm on stage.
Both, but not
little locker room talk.
That's hilarious.
That's awesome.
That's funny as hell.
Oh man. That's cool.
Well,
yeah, I remember I got some video of us backstage, Toney. I think it might have been 03 or I don't know 02 something. No, that was before that.
When
I was pumping up, because who else is in the video is
Craig Titus
and Kelly Ryan. They're all in the video. We all pumping up, and you're holding Kiviak.
Yep.
And like they're peering over my shoulder. I'm putting on oil and pumping up and And yeah, man, I got that video.
That was regular camera, right? We didn't have camera.
Regular camera. And back then, and think about this, to have that footage is remarkable because everyone's throwing out a camera now, but you got to really make a point to do that if you back in the day like that. You had to really make a point.
Yeah.
But I remember. I don't know if you remember this, but at that same show, I was clearly in the lead. I was in control of the whole competition. And I wasn't, no disrespect to the competitors, but I was just like this is just a formality for me to get this check and to go on to the next show.
Yeah.
And I'm noticing you had Kiviak in the orchestra pit, and I saw him getting real fussy, and you didn't have the bag with you, his baby bag with you.
Right.
So I'm in the lineup, so I just take off and jogged off the stage a little bit to the left side of the auditorium, and then I went and got his bottle out of his baby bag, come back out to the stage, and I handed his bottle to the expediter. And I said, "Hey, can you hand this to Toney?"
That is hilarious.
Is that true?
That is so true.
100%.
Yeah, that is so true. Hold on, fellas. Let me go take care of my baby while y'all go ahead.
Yeah, while I handle it.
That's funny.
Wow.
So
went back to business.
So Chris is the only person in the world that has ever went to the club the night before and still placed in the top 6 in the history of the sport.
What year was that?
I don't remember the year, but I remember I was eating that night and I seen Chris. He was like, "All right, then play a holler." And then the next morning, I'm eating breakfast, and he came back in, "Yo, dog, what's up?" And I was like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "I'm about to go carve up and get ready to tear these boys' ass up." I was just like, "How's that even possible? How's that even possible?" And he did it.
Well, the thing is, I just went out to it was actually a strip club, and just wanted to go and relax a little bit, and so that was one thing that was relaxing to me, but it was like a little chaotic for a lot of people.
Well, like I said, it was no judgment. It's just that everybody else was like in the room all nervous and whatever you do the night before. And like you say, if that's what relaxed you, then so be it. I mean, again, your conditioning was on point and you top 6. So That's all I'm saying is the ability to do you and under those circumstances. I used to do me, you know what I'm saying, like all the time. And people used to be like, man, if those competitors knew you was eating like this, and I'm just like, ain't nobody tell you got to give up deliciousness in order to get in shape. You know what I'm saying? I just know how to cook. You know what I'm saying? If I know how to cook, then I get the benefit from that. So that's what it is.
So what year was that? What year was that, guys?
I think
06 maybe? No, not 06.
No, not 06.
Like 04 maybe.
I don't remember. I remember exactly the year though. That's the thing. But a couple times, yeah. Even in Chicago, I went out the night before the show. I went out before the Olympia. One time, San Francisco. That was 05, I think. San Francisco. I won that show.
Yep.
But I got no sleep though. That's for sure. But I still won that show.
Just the overall, the symmetry, the presentation, all that. I mean, that's kind of like what everybody says that, we miss from the old days. And like I was watching you and Flex and Sean's interview the other day, how you guys talked about, hogging the posing room and focusing on your presentation and your mandatories and all that.
Right.
You could tell that a lot of guys don't spend a lot of time on that. You know what I'm saying? Like, that polishedness, being able to hold that pose, indefinitely.
What is their reward is, it just plays out in the physique. But I think because it's not an actual posing round that they're getting judged on, not a big deal is being made by the judging on this criteria, that and also symmetry, because symmetry played a huge role in these physiques that you see. Back in those days, symmetry played a huge role. But not having a symmetry round in the sport now, I think that plays a big part on what you're looking at on the stage.
Yeah. Yes, it's a lot of, upper body, lower body, back, front type of physiques, and, awesome, super, super incredible body parts. And then you almost got to forgive them for the parts that they don't have. I mean, that's been in every era. But back then, I think the competition pushed you to be more polished. You know what I'm saying? Like, I got a lot of my habits from listening to what you guys did. I remember Flex used to say he would pose to his posing routine music for one of his cardio sessions for like 30 minutes straight or whatever. And I adopted that, and it made such a difference. When you get on stage, like posing is like, you finally get to show what's up, and being in control and flexing every muscle and all that stuff. That's what made it, that's what made it artistic.
Who would you say out of the today's guys has the most 90s shape? Because you guys are very known for your X-frame and your symmetry and your proportions, your finesse, like you say, Chris. Who would you say out of the guys today has that kind of X-frame?
Shit.
You're struggling. You're struggling, aren't you?
Here's the thing. This is what I see. You can tell me what you see. You see a lot of photos leading into a show, and you think, this person. Even like you say, like for instance, just off the top of my head, you get like Regan Grimes starts to have like a physique like you could really do something with, and you showed a lot of promise getting ready for the show. But then when you get on the stage, like all that stuff is going what you've been looking at.
Yeah,
everything's gone from what you've been showing the whole time, and then that plays a huge part in how I think the judging and how people perceive your abilities to hit it on that day. It is hard to do. Like you said, Tony, you saw us looking better than we actually looked before, as we got on the stage. I remember you actually saying that to me also.
I'm gonna keep it real. I got mad at you that week because I was like, first and foremost, do not put any effort into these dudes in the Ironman. And again, no disrespect, but you was just on such a level that I already knew. I mean, I'm saying that was obvious, and that's why you was able to walk off stage, get the bottle, come back, all that. So I was saying, don't dry out, don't do nothing, just go like that. And I think Chad was like, no, we got to go all the way through, because you probably had a plan to to double peak or whatever. But again, like I say, as a fan or as someone who's like
it's
right
hard
there
it's hard
in
to
the
peak
moment.
again and again. It's hard to peak again. And you got to be smart with that first show if you plan on being really good the next one. And that always plagued a lot of my shortcomings, I would say, on the Arnold Classic stage, because dealing with that. But, I was never, and John Balick never made me even sign a contract. I just told him I was going to show up and I'll be there. And that's what I always did. But I never even signed a contract for any one of those Ironmans.
Mm.
And
that's crazy. After, watching you so many times, I had to win that Ironman. I mean, I was like, I got to have me one of them.
Yeah,
they
we
stopped
haven't
giving away the ring the year I won.
We haven't got to that part yet. But
I know.
So Tony was like, he started to pick up and get serious, and he was like, okay, I watched you guys enough. Now I'm about to go handle that. And he became the X-Man. Like, he just transformed into what I think he's been seeing, and what he's like, oh, I can do this. And then he started improving his physique, and then he took on that. He even did a damn stomach roll a few times.
Oh, he didn't. Stole it. So you stole it from Melvin. Melvin stole it from you, or whatever. Yeah.
Can you still do it though?
Me, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, but I don't have the abs though. That's the thing.
I know. I do it underneath my shirt just to let them know I'm still here.
Exactly. It's funny. The only thing that makes me miss bodybuilding is when I hear a song that I would like to pose to. Now, I will admit there's not too much music out right now that I would want to pose to. But, I've been retired since 16. So there was a few songs that came out, since then. But, again, it's a totally different situation. Like the Olympia stage and presentation and all that now, I would love to partake in some of that. But, I think we still had the best lighting, back in the day. The best, what was the name of that place where the Ironman was?
It was in the Redondo Beach Performing Arts Theater.
Yeah, that was probably the best place to have a show as far as what the guys end up looking like on stage. That was ridiculous.
Was it John Balick who used to do the lighting, or Mike Neville that would set the lighting up for the Ironman? Was it Mike Neville?
I think so.
For sure. Because they set it up for like a studio shoot instead of for like some camera that's way in the back doing something. They shoot up for like almost like you're gonna do an actual photo shoot with you, And it was remarkable. I mean, some of the things they would come up with. I remember one time they had like a spotlight on each person that's going to be on the stage, and I was standing in one of those spotlights. I think that was probably my first one. I think I even went. Who was next to be in that show was Berto Fox. And, so I'm standing there like, okay, Berto Fox is number one, I'm number two, and I'm like, and then so we like trying to stand in or get to show our physiques, right? So Berto's like taking up all this room, right? His arms are way out there, and I'm just like, and he like scooted me over, and he just kind of looked over at me like, rookie, you better scoot your little ass over like that. And so I stepped back. I was like, I'm gonna step back because that's brutal Berto. I've been watching him with the cable between his pecs, in the magazine growing up. So I'm not gonna mess with brutal Berto. So they called me for the first call. They passed him up and went to the competitor number 2, Chris Cormier, in the center of the stage. And then I said, "Excuse me," and then I went back.
Oh, shit.
Hey, excuse me, buddy. I gotta go to work.
Wow.
Fantastic.
Yeah, that was me in my rookie year. So I went up against Taylor and Aaron Baker for the 1, 2, and 3.
Wow.
But yeah, I remember that.
Wow.
Chris, I told you before we started filming, in this episode, I've done a retro review of the 1994 Arnold Classic.
Yes. So my first Arnold Classic, this is actually a week later after the Ironman. And, going to the next show, we had the infamous competition that year. That's when that's when Paul Dillette cramped up, and he was standing right to my right side.
Yeah.
And so we're standing there. I just look I look over, and I see this thing like pops out, like way like this out of his body, and I was like, damn, what the hell? And then start popping up everywhere, different parts. And he's grabbing each cramp as he's going, right? And then he just stretches out, and then I was like, I'm trying to be helpful, but I'm trying to compete at the same time.
Wow.
I'm just like, so then they all rushed out there in the ground, and he was totally locked up and, taken on stage. But for me, man, just being up there, I was so winded, and, getting that many call outs, that's you first getting your feet wet in the pro ranks, and getting that many call outs from an amateur to there is a total different thing. So, I actually vomited on the stage.
Oh, lovely.
In that show, because just from being exertion so much. Yeah. I swallowed all the vomit right back down. Because I'm thinking,
trooper.
I'm thinking quickly, like, they're gonna take me out of this show if I throw up on the Arnold stage.
Yeah.
There's no way in hell they're gonna let you finish that show, and that's like, well, you're talking about $15,000-$17,000 out the window.
Right.
So I quickly just swallowed all of that back down and continued to compete. And that's what stands out a lot for me early on in my career. Like, I was willing to do whatever it took to get where I needed to go, and that show was special for me because then that's when we spent some days with not much money in our pockets, getting ready. Then all of a sudden, boom, you'll get that bank account open and doing all that stuff. But yeah, that stood out a lot to me, is that just vomiting on stage and then pushing through it,
That's crazy. I was in the audience watching that, and like you said, like a cramp and then another cramp and then his arm raised, and it was like the Statue of Liberty. It was like, that was insane, man. That was like really insane, really intense. Really intense.
What,
like,
do you guys know what he took? Was it IV Lasix or something like that? Do you know?
But the thing is, though, Paul was so lean. Yeah. You're bound to cramp if you don't have some kind of quinine sulfate thing going for you. You're bound to cramp because you're just so lean, like that. There's nothing else for your body to do but cramp. You're that lean, and then you're losing water. So. If Paul really could show his physique all the way, it would have been pretty much lights out. For you know what I'm saying? His conditioning used to be so stupid to be that big and that peeled and that year round. He's got striated glutes.
Man, that shit was so stupid, man.
Year round. and it looked like his legs were about to burst out of the skin on the side.
Yeah.
So that was a year-round thing, I thought. But I think if we had like more of a specialist on a couple different body parts on Paul, and really buckled him down in the posing room, then you would have saw a total different person.
Yep.
But he had everything he needed, though. That's for sure.
Yeah, I agree.
Toney, did you ever train at Gold's Gym with Chris and Flex and all Rico and all those guys?
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't there long. I had a fear of being out in Venice. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm a preacher's kid. So when I went out there, I was just like, man, I will go to hell if I live out here. You know what I'm saying? Like, that was just my thought process, because it was a bodybuilder's heaven, like a dream. Like, I just, and then you got to understand, like, to see it from my perspective, I just knew, I was like, you know what? I got to take my ass back to Georgia. It wouldn't turn out right for me. So, but I did go out there in phases, like 2 or 3 weeks or whatever. And then I went on back home. I literally, in my mind, was like, I can't handle this. I knew I couldn't. So, just keeping it real.
What about the atmosphere of the gym and the guys, seeing those guys training? It was obviously quite motivating, I suppose.
Extremely motivating.
Yeah.
You got to say, once I saw that I had what it took to be a pro, I didn't want to be distracted. If you really think about it, Venice is, you could be super focused or you could be super distracted. If you were from there, you probably used to it. But even like Lee Haney was like, oh, no, I'm gonna have to go back to Georgia. It's just something about being raised in the South, go out to California, It's crazy because how I was introduced to it before I met you, Chris. The way I was introduced to it, I was a male dancer. I was like just starting bodybuilding. You know what I'm saying? So that's a totally different world. And I was like, man, I'll be turned out here. So that's kind of made me go home. And then when Lee Haney was Mr. Olympia, he had just won 91. That was like the first pro show I'd ever saw. Wow. And so I'm in my mind, I'm like trying to be serious. And so that's kind of why I made my decision to stay home. But yeah, I loved Venice. The equipment was insane. Probably had some of the best workouts in my life. And that posing room, I ate that up every time I got a chance.
For sure. Yeah, that's how it was. Everybody was fighting to get in there because everybody wanted to get better, and that's the place where we got better,
Yeah.
I just think there's a misconception out there with a lot of athletes thinking you're getting better at the dinner table. I always thought that you fuel your body there, you don't overeat, keep that waist tight. How did you keep your waist tight? Because the most impressive thing I saw you do was almost like, I don't know, you drank some tiger blood or some shit, and you just fucking start reversing your damn age, going the other way.
Yeah, I'm kind of a nerd. I'm kind of a nerd when it comes to, how the body really works. So when, in bodybuilding, so once I learned about the food, and then I learned about the chemistry and the training. So I turned pro at 36 years old. So when I got to 40 years old, I was just now hitting my stride. And I'm looking at these dudes like 20-something. I'm like, how am I hang with these dudes? So that's when I really started getting into health. And I started doing all these cleansing in between. And I'm, to be honest with you, that's kind of what I'm doing now. I'm actually just hardcore into that type of stuff. But that's where I started doing it in 2005. And when you clean out your gut and you put the right microbiome in there, your absorption rate goes through the roof. So everybody kept saying, you got to be 300, you got to be 300. And I was like 270, I think 272, 277 was like the heaviest I had been. And I went and got with Anthony Aponte out in Seattle.
Seattle, yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
he took me to his crib, and he literally, I ate 10 meals a day, and we trained twice a day, and I went from 280 to 310, like in a flash.
Wow.
And I was like, oh, this is what you got to do to get, huge and swole like that. And then, because I was doing all the cleansing at the same time, my waist just stayed tight, and it just all kind of went into muscles. It was crazy.
Yeah, man. Yeah, and then I was thinking, man, Toney waited long enough for this time to come, and going against all these young cats. And you had a nice, impressive run, man. I gotta congratulate you on that, man. That was impressive.
Thank you.
Especially
before I tore my pec, or the day right when I tore my pec in '95, I was 285 and about 4% body fat, and that was the first time I had ever really done insulin and growth. I did a little, and I was doing like 2 IUs, so it was like anti-aging amounts. But I learned how to eat and do that at the same time, and the timing of the meals and all that. And literally, I gained like 40 or 50 pounds. From 94, I went from 242 to 285 in like 2-3 months. It was insane. And so that's when I really learned how to eat. And then when I went to Aponte, he just took it to a whole nother level, and I was able to be 305, 310. So that was really cool.
What did he really change for that weight increase?
This you gotta understand. I didn't do. So he actually, we had the bedroom. He put aluminum foil on the windows. So he had a air conditioning unit, and then he blacked out all the windows.
Yeah.
So every time I would eat, I would literally eat, and then he's like, "Go get in the incubator," which was the room. So I'd go in there and turn on the air conditioning, cut out the light, and literally I would eat and then go lay down and take a nap. Then I would get up and eat, go down and take a nap. I mean, literally, it was like that's all I did. Like literally, like 3 months straight.
Wow.
I didn't exert no energy on nothing else but bodybuilding.
Don't you think recuperation is such a underrated thing in the sport? People think you need to train. I hear a lot of slogans these days. 7 days a week, never no days off, no, they hashtag
that's all. Yeah.
But the thing is, I guarantee you, if you actually paid close attention to recuperation, that's a whole nother anabolic property that people is not understanding how powerful recuperation is.
I remember Ernie Taylor saying literally he was doing what you were doing, Tony. There was a period of time when he was stepping into the pros where he did for a period of time literally sleep, eat, and he said it was just like he said, he had like a transformative effect like you did.
Yeah. I mean, I literally used to be. I would feel myself growing. It was crazy because, a lot of times when you get in that zone, your body just reacts to everything. But Tony used to wring out the muscle. You know what I'm saying? Like we'd be using like kind of light weights. Like for chest, we would use like 185 or 225. And he would just wring it out to where, I don't think I was tearing it down so much as stimulating the growth. And then we'd go home and eat, sleep. Then we'd go back to the gym and tear down another body part like that. And man, that compounded, and that recovery was so ridiculous too, that I just grew like a weed. I mean, I remember going, like I say, from like 284 to 308 in like 10 days, 11 days. It was insane.
What?
It was insane.
It's funny, in the same interview, you've said that Ronnie Coleman lost 40 pounds in a week from the week before the 2001 Arnold to competing. And like you've gone the other way by just having a completely different recuperative process.
Yeah, like I say, Ronnie was 277, 3 weeks out. I'll never forget it because I remember he had on a remember we used to wear wasn't hot, I think it was hot skins, but he had on the
it was hot skins.
Yeah, he had on the baggy pants and the boat neck shirt. And he was in the living room and he did something. He like leaned over to grab something and like literally you could see like all his glutes was just completely striated through the baggy pants. It was just the freakiest thing I ever seen in my life. I was just like, damn. And then when I saw him at the Arnold, I was like, well, he looked good, but y'all should have seen him 3 weeks ago at the crib. I mean, that's why I told Chris he could actually beat him. You know what I'm saying? Like when I got to see Ronnie at 240 something, and then I saw Chris was like 250, 252 or something like that. I was like, at the Ironman, I was like, man, I just left Ronnie's house. I'm telling you right now, you really can give him a run for his money. So that was crazy to see. That was crazy to see. Two human beings at that level of conditioning at the same. Who even got third? I don't even remember.
Dennis
Who got
James.
third that year?
Dennis James.
Who?
James. Yeah.
Dennis looked pretty good too.
Dennis
did look good.
But it was going to be a 1 and 2 competition and I don't know. I think just from being second there previously a few times already, and then go to that one, and then the up and down through Flex came and got one, and then Jay, and then Dexter, and I was just like, okay, all right, this is not working. This is not working.
What year was that? That Jay beat you? Was Jay's first one, I think.
2, 3, and 4. 02, 03, and 04.
Yeah, 04 was the one I thought that you had him on. I was kind of mad. I was kind of mad at that one too.
I was pretty mad too. I didn't want to go. I didn't want to go out. I didn't want to do nothing. They was begging me to just come out and hang out. I was like, man, I do not feel good, man. It's just something.
You know what the problem is, and now that I'm on this side of the game, I know it's a business, but when you're competing, you know what I'm saying? That's not in your mind. You ain't trying to understand how it's a business for somebody else when this is a physique game and we all doing the 12 to 16 week programs and jacking ourselves and all that type of stuff. So my whole thing was, if whoever peaks should win. I don't give a damn if we ain't never seen him before in our lives. If he shows up and nails it, give it to him, because he might not never nail it ever again. Huh?
It's better for the sport.
What I'm saying is, and I heard Kevin say it the other day what Joe told him about, I can interchange you guys, but Dorian opens up the sport for the international and all that. I was like, we got internet now. So the fans ain't really falling for nothing other than who is the best that day. You know what I'm saying? And honestly, it took him a long time to get to the point where, you know, that was the mission of a judge to find out who was the best athlete. If you had to compare him 94 times to the last man standing, because that's what turns a fan into a fanatic. You know what I'm saying? Because as a fan, you feel like you know the game. You feel like you know a couple of things. So when they show you something other than what you know, it's like, what the hell? I mean, that was like the number one question that I used to get when I used to go overseas for, you know, seminar. They were like, what are the judges looking for? And I'm like, I'm up there. I have no idea. I'm still waiting on the memo.
Yeah. So you're just bringing that package and you're hoping for the best. But you just think about, I think all the emotion comes out when you start thinking how hard you worked to get to this point and to this placing, and you just want to have a fair shake at it. You know.
That's it.
Were you, Chris, were you glad that, you know, the 2001 Arnold Classic, were you glad that you at least got the crack at Ronnie that you wanted at the 2000 Olympia that you had to pull out of?
Oh, damn.
The thing that pissed me off the most is that I let a Mr. Olympia go by and I wasn't in it, and I was in the audience. It messed me up because I was still sitting in the audience. I was still one of the top 2 and 3 and maybe even first in the world at that time. And I'm sitting in that damn audience and I'm watching Ronnie was clearly off to his standards because I think he tried to go too big. He was like he said he was 260, but they were saying in the magazine he was 280. So that's why I was always thinking he was 280 because they said in the magazine. And everybody know that's not always the right information. But I know I would have beat that. I would have been Mr. Olympia that year for sure. There's no way I would have come from 1999 showing, took the year off because I was ready 2 months out. I was ready 8 weeks to go. I was already ready to go. And then to crash and burn like that, and you know, just taking too much growth hormone kept me out of that competition. I didn't know. I thought something was actually really wrong with me, but my blood sugar levels was just way out of whack and fell into a seizure, and you know, the rest is history. I'm trying to protect myself at the end of the day and be smart about things, but you know, it was actually nothing really wrong with me.
So was the high GH making you pre-diabetic and making your blood sugar go high?
Yeah, and so when I tell people nowadays, hey, you don't need to take a lot of growth hormone. That's not the answer. That's going to put you in a dangerous state, trying to think more is better and more is not better. That wasn't my attitude. I just had so much with me. I knew I couldn't take it back to America, so I started taking more. So that was my only thought process behind that shit, and it kept me out of the competition.
Wow.
Yeah, man.
So was it Serostim?
Yeah.
So I've done one vial of Serostim in my whole life. Matter of fact, Chris, it was the weekend I remember I was sitting on your porch. I did a vial of Serostim before I left Atlanta to come to California. I gained 18 pounds.
Yeah.
From leaving my house to landing in Venice. I was like, oh hell no, I'm not. And then I read the insert, and it said it was made from rat T cells, and so that's when I was just like, I ain't even fucking with that at all, because I was just like, that is crazy. So when you think about when they made that, they made it for anti-wasting for the AIDS patients, and literally, I mean, I literally gained 18 pounds in like 3 days. I was like, this is not even right. So that was like the last time I ever touched it.
Yeah, but the situation was like, yeah. So that's when I decided to have an after party, and then I was like, yeah, I just blew that one off. Then I said, okay, I'm gonna get ready for the Arnold Classic, and then Ronnie decided to do it. But like I say, when that particular thing happened, that's when they say, okay, Ronnie's gonna be 300 pounds next time he competes. And so I was just welcoming that. I was like, yeah, do that.
Right.
Do that. And I'm gonna go lighter. You know, I'm gonna be in my 40s at this Arnold Classic. So I went for that route, but lo and behold, like we said, Ronnie came down to the same weight.
Mm-hmm.
So
I remember that.
That was the difference. That was the difference.
Yeah.
That was the difference. But I feel like if I would have just kept my mouth shut, I probably would have got that show.
Again.
But him being Mr. Olympia, I was thinking, there's no way they're going to give me that over him. And there's Arnold Classic when he's Mr. Olympia. I wasn't thinking that. But also, you know, when Gunther beat him, I think, like I say, Gunther was in shape, and we were in Europe, and he went straight to the show, and we coming back from Amsterdam and all these places, and then going to compete in New Orleans for that competition. But Tony, tell us what's been happening lately. Any updates on health or whatever you want to share?
So in 2016 I was getting some rolfing done, right? And it ruptured the fascia in my quad on the side. And so that's kind of why I ended up having to sit down for a minute. And so when I sat down, I went to a couple of doctors and found out that I was deficient in a lot of nutrients, and I had a few parasites. So when I found that out, I just kind of got on a mission to like heal my body and to, because I realized that I wasn't healthy. And I realized that even if I recovered from, the injury and went back to the game, and even if I won Mr. Olympia, I was still going to be 50 years old and it was going to be time to sit down. So I just decided to sit down and focus on my health. And, when you first retire or whatever, you got this whole mental transition you got to go through. So, I was feeling dejected and mad at the world and all that type of stuff. But, finally, I kind of just decided that I wasn't going to allow my circumstances to control my happiness. And then I just started, just doing a lot of self-development. And I got into network marketing. I made a bunch of money. And it's kind of funny because I made a bunch of money giving away, like I did, online coaching. So that's how I made my money. After I lost my endorsement deals and couldn't compete no more and all that, all I had left was online coaching. So I started doing that, but I was doing it for free. And I started getting some really great results with a bunch of just regular people who didn't work out. And it kind of just caught on. And I'm still doing it now. That's kind of what my whole deal is right now. I wrote a program, I call it Righteous, and it basically teaches people how to detoxify their body and just kind of like get a fresh start. And I know how to help people get healthy. It's really not me per se, but there's certain things you got to do in order to achieve, health. And the bodybuilding kind of taught me how the body functions. And I took that knowledge and information and kind of worked it into this program. And I mean, I got just story after story after story that's just changing people's lives. So that's kind of what I've been doing.
Guys, this question's to both of you. I speak to a lot of bodybuilders who competed, who retired. Do you think, especially with the whole COVID situation in the last year and a half and how challenging it's been for a lot of people, do you think mental health is often overlooked in the industry?
Most definitely.
Oh yeah, for sure. For sure.
You have to understand what it takes to actually push your body to those limits like that. And then when you can't do that anymore, that's a dark place. You talk about going to a dark place to get in shape like that. Well, the place when you can't do it physically no more, when that's the only thing that I mean, it took me 25 years to get to my highest level before I peaked.
Yeah. So
to do something for 25 years and then now you can't do that. I remember I was going crazy because, I was running out of money. And if I didn't, my wife was still working and she was holding the fort down and all that. But as a man, when it wasn't the way it was, I mean, we made some really good money bodybuilding. And so when that was all going away, I was just like, damn, what I'm going to do? And I remember looking at my phone and seeing all these, help wanted and job stuff. I was like, man, I don't even know how to fill out a job application. I ain't about to do that. You know what I'm saying? Like it got really dark. But I also, know that, it's all in your mind. So when, change the way you think, and then you can pull yourself out of anything. So people who are suffering from, mental health issues, who am I to say that it's all in your head? But in reality, it's in your head, but it's also in your gut. And I'm learning more and more and more about your gut microbiome or your total body microbiome controls the way you feel upstairs. And I know you guys have heard of the vagus nerve. You heard of the vagus nerve?
No.
Giles?
No, I've not heard of that. No.
The vagus nerve runs from your spine all the way down to your gut, right? And it's like a highway of information going from your head to your gut, to your gut. Well, they dissected the vagus nerve and they found out that only 5% of the nerves go from your brain to your gut, and 95% of them go from your gut to your brain. So when you wrap your head around that, they say your gut is your second brain. Well, what you put in your stomach, what you put in your body, what you consume controls your mind. It controls your thought process. If you don't have certain amount of nutrients, certain amount of vitamins, minerals, all that type of stuff, your body doesn't function properly. So I just basically, I'm dedicating my life basically to the gut health. They say health is wealth. Well, if gut health is optimal health, then gut health is priceless. And so that's kind of where I parked my, placed my hat. And that's what I've been working on and having massive success. We created some products to help you with it. I created a whole program to go with it. And I actually tapped into something this past weekend, the other day, and found out that basically we are all like full of parasites, like microorganisms from, all the places we've been, all the food we ate, all the people we slept with, all that type of stuff. That microbiome has entered our bodies and made us who we are and made you think the way you ever heard of the term set in your ways? Mm-hmm. Well, a lot of the things that you like and love is because of the microbiome that you picked up over the years. That's kind of like, become a part of you. And when you start purging all that stuff, the old you or the person that you really are starts to shine through. So that's kind of what I'm doing right now.
That's pretty interesting, man.
Yeah.
Pretty interesting.
So, Chris, me and you, we've been down a lot of the same roads. You know what I'm saying? Like, that whole traveling overseas and all that. And if you ride on the airplane, like for an hour or 2 hours, it changes your entire microbiome from you coming in contact with the microbiome from other people. That's, that shit's so crazy to me when I found that out.
I could feel that, because even like I feel like that because I've been around the world and I feel like it messed with a lot of things the way I can't even recognize some people that I really should recognize because I grew up with them, but just from all my travels, all the things I've done and the stress and the whatever things I've been through, near death experiences, all this stuff. I totally like the things that I grew up with and held true. Like these are my real friends. Because I had to leave. I had to cut my travel down, like my communication, my everything. I just cut everything. I cut everything that I knew and loved, and at a young age, 22, I'm gonna go be this bodybuilder, and I had to leave everything I knew and go to this place where I didn't know anybody, and make my way through this sport. But I totally my memory is totally like wiped over a lot of times where I knew people, I knew their face, I could see faces that looked familiar a little bit, but a lot of things is just messed up now.
Yeah. So I'll tell you this, the thing that you said that. So I went through like it's probably about a 6 month, first I started, I was eating 7 meals a day, then 6, then 5, then 4, then 3, then 2, then 1. I started intermittent fasting. I started regular fasting, taking a bunch of herbs, trying to get rid of them parasites. And I've passed so many alien looking things. It's so crazy. And I'm just like, wow, where did that come from? Where did that come from? How is this stuff like growing inside of me like this? It's a trip, because if you see like a shark, right? You see the little remores up under the shark, they riding along and they not disturbing the shark at all. You know what I'm saying? And that's what's going on inside of our bodies. They say you either have parasites or you are a parasite. And like I say, once you know this type of stuff, I'm like obsessed with it, because I passed a 14-inch parasite about 3 weeks ago. Whoa. And I've been cleansing. Wow. I've been cleansing for like 5 or 6 years straight. And I'm just like, what? So I talked to a guy the other day, and he said, we have what you call established parasites that you picked up when you was a teenager or a kid, and they've been with you for 10, 15, 20 years. And I'm just like, man, get out of here with that. He said, no, I'm serious. He was like, it's a trip. It's a trip how, the old school slave medicine, they used to worm the kids back in the day. You don't even hear about that no more. Now I know why. So it's really a trip to know all this stuff. And I know this is not a bodybuilding topic, but it really is. When you start talking about how much food as a bodybuilder is consuming, so we're taking in way more stuff than the regular person would be. So
Also, I wanted to say about the mental health aspect. That's a subject that a lot of people don't even want to admit they have an issue or a problem. And they're embarrassed about it. And that's another thing. I think if that changed, then I think more people can get the help they need before something bad happens.
Yeah, so y'all heard about Andy? Andy passed away like 2 weeks ago. Not even.
Right.
I talked to Andy like 48 hours before he passed, maybe 72 hours before he passed, and I was just about to help him do my cleanse. I'm listening to him talk, and I could hear the old me. Like, he felt he was lost. He was like, I don't know what's going on, but he died of infection. I heard some kind of infection, and to be honest with you, that we all have like, what do you call it? It's like infection all over. Bodybuilders have what they call dirty blood, and it's from eating all the stuff that we eat. Your body just can't really process all of that, so your blood gets dirty. And talking to Andy, he was drinking, and he had some kind of injury or something, and he had really bad infection. And I was like, I had infection all over my body, and I went and did it's called an EBO. It's basically ozone dialysis, basically what it is. And it basically cleans all your blood with ozone. I did that. That was pretty mind blowing. I fasted for 7 days.
Wow.
And did all kinds of therapies and treatments. And then I did that EBO. So I did the EBO. We did blood work before and we did blood work after. I dropped 54 points on my cholesterol. I dropped 10 points on both readings of my blood pressure. And then I went and did this heart test, and it said I had a heart of a child, and it said that I was 20 years old, my biological age. So that freaked me out a little bit because that stuff actually does work. How they say you can't detox your body, but that's a lie. You really can. You really can turn back the clock and reverse the damage that we do to ourselves over the years.
How do you feel now, Toney?
I feel amazing, bro. I feel amazing. It's funny because I think on the 6th of March, I passed like a 14-inch parasite. And before that, I'm saying it because I had no idea that could even be possible. Number one, because I thought I was pretty clean. Like I told you, I did a basically almost a whole blood transfusion cleaning my blood. So I was like oblivious and didn't think it was even possible. And so when that thing happened, it let me know that, man, this is like an onion. It's like in layers. And then, I talked to this guy the other day, and he was like, yeah, you have established parasites. Then you have all the ones that's mobile. You can kill those really easy. He said, but as soon as you do that, almost it reminded me of the Alien. Remember an Alien? Like, you did the little ones come get you, but there's really that mother alien that's laying all them eggs. Yeah. Yeah, so that's kind of what we're dealing with for real. Wow. And when you start talking about mental health and people going into dark places, a lot of that is your gut microbiome. A lot of that is, whatever. We have no idea. I mean, whatever's going on, whatever those microscopic things that grow up, they control a lot of your thoughts, a lot of the way you think, the foods that you crave. People who are sex addicts, that's microbiome. You know what I'm saying? Like when you say I can't even help myself, that's microbiome, bro.
Right. I get it. There you go. Sex education 101.
Well, it's just really understanding that, it's us and then it's the microbiome, which, all these, like I say, when you go to a different country, that stuff gets on you and now it's a part of you. You know what I'm saying? Like that could be proven with science. I mean, I got on a machine that's it's called a Blue Opal, and it's basically Russian artificial intelligence. It'll read your brain talks to the computer and it tells you everything that's going on in your body. that's how I learned out about my parasites. That's how I learned how to kill them. So it's a trip. Super nerdy. So now I don't really lift like I used to. I do like circuit training. I actually invented my own equipment that I'm gonna bring out probably end of this year. But yeah, I'm into how the body works on the inside, because we got the outside down pat, and when you get older, the only thing you really care about is how it's working on the inside. You know, how's my heart? Is my heart good? Is my lungs and liver good? Blah blah blah. So that's kind of what I'm focused on right now.
For sure. I mean, I remember when I was competing, like I just always thought like, okay, I wanted this for this amount of time, and I was okay with whatever happened afterwards. But once you fall out of that bodybuilding bubble, then you start being like, okay, I need to try to see how I'm going to live longer.
Yes, sir.
That's all I got is time. All I got is time in this world now. So healthy time is all you really have.
Health is wealth, bro. That's all you really, you could, I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like that father time wins every single time. So I'm 54. And when I go get my blood work, I'm not scared. You know what I'm saying? Like I expect it to be good. Where when I was a bodybuilder, I expected it to be bad. You know what I'm saying?
So family's good. Go ahead, John.
So how do you think Dexter's managed to stay? Well, by all accounts, he's healthy. How do you think he managed to do that and have a 21 pro career? 21 years.
Dexter never smoked. He never drank. He stayed in shape.
Yeah.
He stayed in his zone.
Yeah, he stayed on it. He didn't take his foot off the gas and smell the roses. He just kept going, so it was easier. But if he would have broke it all down to his very last compound, it would have been a different story. If he would have got like let's say for instance, I had that staph infection that left me hospitalized for 6 months and trying to recover for the next year type of thing. That'll break you down and break all that money, all that muscle down, all that scar tissue down, everything that got you there is all gone, and then you got to build back. It's a total different story, and it may not come out the same. But if I wouldn't have got injured or anything like that, I could see myself. I would have been going on because I was expecting to be able to keep going because I was a lot younger than the other guys I was going against.
Yeah.
You were out for 6 months with that.
Yeah.
I didn't realize.
Yeah. I was getting antibiotics for half a year, 3 times a day, and every time I did a run of that antibiotics, watching it drips for like 6 months, it just drove me crazy. And not only that, I was totally constipated from all the medicines and everything. And let's just say what was coming out of me wasn't my size 3 times a day.
Yeah.
3 times a day, no fail. So going through that, and then I actually made it back to the States 2 more times, but I knew it wasn't a game that you can win when once you start, getting to that level of health risk and issues.
Right. Yeah. I feel lucky that I got injured when I did. I was stubborn. I would have kept going. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I can't even lie. God started talking to me. He was like, "Hey, you got to make a choice." Just like right now, if you guys really look at, and I don't want to get off political stuff, but when you look at what's going on in the world, it's like you got to pick a side now. Where back in the day, you should just be able to hang out in the middle and be yourself and do whatever you want to do. They painting us into a corner where we got to pick a side. It's like really tripping me out.
Well, I just feel like a lot of people in the sport, not to interject in what you said, but people think they have forever. I always thought I had forever. I thought I had so much time, and I feel like you gotta strike while you're doing this, while it's hot, because you don't know tomorrow's not even promised for you. And
right.
No way, shape, or form is not promised. But people think it's promised to them in the sport, and they think, they have time to do whatever for how long length of time. But if you think about it, the top guys, there's only a short period of time you have.
Yeah.
Yep.
No matter who you are, whether you're Dorian, whether you're Ronnie, you got a short time with that body. So whatever you do with it or decide not to do with it, it's on you. But that time is coming no matter what.
Yeah.
I
started, because I turned pro so late, I was already thinking about when it was going to be over. You know what I'm saying? it was crazy for the fact I got 15 years of a pro career, and I turned pro at 36. That was crazy to me. But like I say, it was because I really took care of myself. Once I saw that I had what it took, I was like, okay, now I got to make myself last. I got that from Sean Ray. What made Sean so great is he lasted so long. I'm like, that's what's up. And so that's what kind of, because I know I could have been, they start talking about, I could have been 330. I could have been, I got up to 322, 323. And I was pretty lean. I mean, so I know I could have kept on going. It actually, like I say, it actually scared me. I was just like, this is insane that I can manipulate my body to really do this. When you have that clean rebound after the Olympia, if you go right back into your program, eating right and all that, oh my goodness, that rebound is something else. So
yeah.
Toney, this question is to you both. If you could go back in time and advise a young version of yourselves, what would you tell them?
Whew.
Given what you know and everything you've experienced and everything you've been through.
So the thing about being an old person or older person is the wisdom that you learn from all your mistakes and all that.
Yeah.
So, you almost, like I say, being 54 or whatever, I have to be grateful for all the stuff that I went through. You know what I'm saying? Or I wouldn't be where I'm at, because when you're young, you don't listen to people like me. You just don't.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Testosterone is driving your car. And I basically would just say, there's more to life than, looking like a god and all that type of stuff. But I think I needed to go through that so I can appreciate, now, you know what I'm saying? Like having the wisdom to be able to help people, heal themselves or be better and all that. That's so much more rewarding than them trophies and them checks and all that stuff that I was getting. So I don't know. I think, as a young man, just listen to the people that's trying to help you because they're speaking from wisdom. I know financially I would have done a lot of different things like, invest in all that type of stuff. I mean, I made enough money. I remember in 2009, I had a few $100,000 cash. If I had just took half of it and bought Bitcoin, I'd be straight right now. But back then, all I was thinking about was Sandow and striations and, you know what I'm saying? So I would just tell people to think about what's coming 5, 10, 15, 20 years. And it's just hard to do when you're in your 20s and 30s, feeling like Superman every single day. Other than the cape, dog, I felt like Superman every single day.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
Yeah. Chris?
Yeah, I think so. The same is as I get older, and I do give back, a lot to the bodybuilding community, and also, most of my days in time of my, starting to promote competitions and stuff. There's a whole other feeling from actually competing, but just a giving back on that level, on many levels, and in a place where a lot of people don't want to be. I'm there in the different gyms or in the different posing rooms or Skyping with people, teaching and trying to, just try to teach them and learn from the mistakes that I've made or things that I've endured over the years, and just trying to get it through. But I see some people it's hard to get through to, and sometimes they're not ready for it. And that's okay too, because I've been all those things. That's why I understand every single aspect of the game, because I've been all those things, and I've been hard-headed, I've been egotistical, and to get through that, and still be like, and then I hate that I told you so, because I tell people, even from exercises on up to the way you handle things in life, I'm trying to teach, this next generation a way that I seen it, saw it, done it, and regretted some things, and some things I did not regret that transpired. But it's all part of it's that ongoing cycle. But yeah, I think will people get further if they did listen to people who actually done it or been there? Yeah, they'll get 10 times further and faster and more prosperous.
Yeah. with less collateral damage. You know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
You just, you know, if I had known about microdosing back in the day, I would have loved to know about that.
You've been microdosing.
Yeah, I would have done that. Like, in other words, now that I know more about the human body and how it functions and all that, you know, back in the day we did a cycle, then we do a PCT, whatever. Yeah. I used to do a cycle, and then just after the show was over, I just come off, and then, you know, 2 months later I do, you know, so just stuff like that, because that stuff matters with how your endocrine system ends up being, you know, when you're 40, 50, and, you know, and beyond. So I had to try to figure out how do I get my own body to cut back on, you know what I'm saying? Because it's not an easy task. It's not an easy task. So that's just something that we have to deal with, you know, as older men. So if you could go back and tell your young self, you know what I'm saying, don't do a gram, do, you know what I'm saying? Do, you know what I'm saying? Like whatever you want to say to yourself. So, because that is real, you know what I'm saying? So that's, no matter what you feel like when you're 20, 30, and 40, when you're doing it, it's real. That shit matters when you get older.
Okay. One final question, guys. What's your thoughts on TRT for guys over 40?
Same thing, microdosing. I think it's almost necessary. So yeah, just basically in this scenario, I think less is more. You know what I'm saying? You're really trying to maintain your manhood more so than put on 30 pounds of lean mass. So you want to act accordingly.
Yeah, I don't do it just because, I mean, I would like to and feel better and all that stuff, but my body just don't want anything. So I haven't done anything. And if I try to, my body is letting me know that it don't want it. Like things happen. Like I'm in the process of doing all my little health checks, and I got some good insurance and all that stuff. So I'm right in the middle of going through all this stuff, like what Tony's talking about right now. Just for health reasons, making sure everything's okay and working right. You know, that prostate is really scary for me.
Yeah.
You know, it's a scary process, but it's something you have to do. You have no way around it. You have to do it. You know, but like I said, I haven't done any TRT at all. Period. Like I don't do it. But yeah.
I got, you know, I know you know who Emmerich is. So I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 years ago, you know, he was like, Tony, just do 10 milligrams. He said, do 20 milligrams of tests a day for 8 weeks, and then 10 milligrams. And so I've been doing that for a couple years, not full time, but just whenever I do anything, that's how I do it. And I have good results with that.
So,
but I went like 3 years not taking anything. And what happened was when my wife got diagnosed with cancer in September of 19. And so January 20, went to Texas and did a 7-day internal transformation. And the lady that took me through that, she told me how to kick your nuts back in. She said, you gotta do testicles, beef testicles or bison testicles. So I started doing that. And
what do you mean doing bison testicles?
Chris.
So you basically I bought raw bison testicles, and then you basically gotta, you know,
it's like a burger. A burger.
Eating it?
Yeah. What I did was I froze them, and then I cut them into chunks, and then I froze it, and then I put it in my smoothie.
Oh.
And it literally, that shit worked. I ain't even gonna lie.
You know that I've been going to China, right? And they eat a lot of testicles and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I was like,
that shit
like, dude, you eating bull testicles? And I was like,
I mean, you know, like I say, I'm not preparing them and cooking them and all that. When you freeze them and you use, I basically put frozen bananas, frozen blueberries, strawberries, and I do frozen liver and frozen beef bison testicles, and my blood work was awesome. I was like, okay. I was like, all right then. So, you know, again, when I used to look in the mirror, I realize now as a retired, you know, man, you know, a man of God, I used to realize that, man, I was literally worshiping myself in the mirror. Like I had got to the point where, you know, I felt like you felt godlike to be, 300, man, to be 302 pounds with a 32-inch waist and 32-inch quads with paper thin skin. You know what I'm saying? Like, you start feeling yourself. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's a crazy way to be when you know it ain't but like 3-4 motherfuckers like that on Earth. So it's really it's a head game. And so when I woke up, like I told you, I got my consciousness back. I basically decalcified my pineal gland, purged all that stuff out of my body, and I regained my consciousness. I started thinking like a human being instead of felt like an animal. You ever hear of savage and beast and all that? You feel like one because that's what's happening. You literally have been taken over by that whole thing that you create. It becomes you, and in order to be like that, you got to think differently than other people.
Yeah, because you feel invincible at that point. You know, you feel you can do anything and nothing can take you down. You can run through shit. You know, all of that. So,
Chris, do you think you'll be having a conversation with Toney about the gut health thing afterwards, privately?
I'm sure because it's important, and I think that's one of my biggest issues right now. I can imagine that, and like I say, I just want to just get to the bottom of my whole health history and situation, and that's moving forward. That's going to be one of my most.
So I know it's a bunch of men listening to this right now. Chris, you said something about prostate, right? Mm-hmm. So all of us have to deal with prostate when you get older. And, I guess like they say, almost every man is going to end up with prostate cancer. And I used to wrap my head. I'm like, why is that? What's the cause of that? And what happens with our prostate, it's a microbiome thing. So when we have sex with a woman, her microbiome goes into our penis, whatever, and it deposits itself in your prostate. So, from 16, I started having sex when I was 16. So from 16 until I got my current wife. That's the only woman I sleep with now. I can't even tell you where I was. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. But I realize now that all that microbiome is what builds up and it festers in your junk. And then it, that's what causes prostatitis. And then it becomes benign prostate hypertrophy and all that type of stuff. But that's what it is. So I'm saying all that to say this. It's a microbiome thing. So whatever... it's a process you got to go through to reverse that, but it is very reversible.
Chris,
very reversible.
Chris, I actually had a conversation. Sorry, Toney. I had a conversation with Flex Lewis about the microbiome thing actually very recently because he's had all his issues with his shoulder and that's something Toney, that's something Flex Lewis has really been looking to kind of reset and before he kind of moves forward into the open class. Mm-hmm. He said, Giles, I'm really hot on it at the moment. I've had to be for months, he says, and my mental clarity is so much sharper. I mean, I saw a picture of him today from the gym opening, and he looks really young and healthy and looks great, and he said he's ready to...
Yeah, he was talking to me about that at the last Olympia, and he was telling me how, he said, man, you got to check this out. That's one of our last conversations we had, in Orlando this year. So, yeah.
So one more thing. So you think of me. So Newton says energy cannot be created or destroyed. It passes from one thing to the next, right? So you just transfer in energy. So we start talking about food and sushi. Sushi is where, and I love sushi, like ridiculously.
I know what you're going to say, man.
But I'm just saying, all those, it's so many entities in sushi for real. Oh. Like I got diagnosed with a kidney worm. And so when I did that test, it's that artificial intelligence test, it showed my kidney cross section and clicked on the kidney. And it said that, I had a kidney worm, some long name, and then it clicked on again. Well, how do you get this parasite? And it says eating raw fish. And back then I was eating like 8 to 12 ounces of raw tuna every day. So I couldn't even get mad. I was like, well, damn, that's exactly how you get this shit. So I'm like, how am I going to kill this? Because it's only 2 ways to get rid of it. You got to figure out how to kill it or you take the kidney out. And I was like, well, I ain't trying to get rid of no kidney. So I went on a mission to figure out how to kill this thing, man. It took like 18 months for me to finally kill it. And when I saw it pass out of my body, it was the most ridiculous. It literally felt like it was shot out of a cannon. When it came out, it was like pop. Like literally felt like I got shot. It was crazy, and to see that, whatever that, I mean, it was like a demon. I call it a demon because that's what it was to me.
Yeah.
So
wow.
Really crazy, bro. A story after story after
wow.
story.
Guys, I want to be respectful of your time because I said we'd be an hour and you've given us much more than that. So, Toney, Chris, I really, really appreciate the conversation and the time and all the information you've given. And this has been really, really good. Chris wanted you on and and I said, well, this will be a great idea. So I thank you so much for coming on. And this has been absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
Chris, are you on Clubhouse?
Yeah.
Okay. I do a gut health room on Clubhouse, so I'll invite you to that. And
okay.
On Clubhouse you could just go in. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, I know. I'm on there.
I'll be going in.
Okay. All right then, guys.
All right, man. Thanks again.
Right.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for coming out, Toney. Catching up with you, brother.
Love you too, bro. Get with me.
Yeah, brother, for sure.
Thanks, Toney.
Right.
Thank you, Chris. Bye-bye.
Peace out.
Bye-bye. Okay, guys, it is news and shout-out time for episode 14 of Indie Glove Muscle. Who do we have first? Okay, this is Alexis Rivera. I've been raving about this guy for years, since I saw him at the 2018 Olympia where he took 11th place. And he hasn't competed since. I heard the rumor was that he had a knee injury. Yeah, that was the rumor. He had a knee injury, and we've heard nothing since. But I heard on the forum somebody said that he's making a comeback, so a comeback of sorts. Because he hasn't competed since the end of 2018. Yeah, it is his. Yeah, Dorian Hamilton. That is his coach. There you go. Is that Dorian Hamilton? Is that? It looks like him, doesn't it? Yeah, but look at the side of an arm. Look at that. That is an arm. Yeah, no, I really rate Alexis Rivera. He just missed out on top 10 at the 2018 Olympia. Have a look at this video here, just so you can we can remind ourselves just how good this guy is. Look at that. This guy has got aesthetics, size, condition, separation, quality, and he's an open guy. I love the way he poses. His legs, wow! Look at the feathers in his quads and all the vascularity, the separation. That is very, very impressive. So I think because he writes most of his posts in not English, and so is this him now? Then is this a hint that he's coming back? So he's a little bit downsized there, but he's in condition. Is he dieting for something? Oh, I really hope so, because I'd love to see him back. In 2018, he won the Tampa Pro. That was when he went up against Sergio Oliva Jr. and they apparently it was just incredible, and they went really down to the wire with that one, and it was very, very close with him and Sergio, and just a picture of his breakfast. Okay, typical bodybuilder's breakfast there, but I really want to see this guy come back. I really, really like his physique. I think he's got the potential to win multiple pro shows. And honestly, I think if he's made improvements and he's got over whatever injury he had, whether it was his knee or not, I'd love to see him in the top 6 of the Olympia, because I think he's kind of got that kind of Sean Roden type physique where he's got size and aesthetics, and he's got beautiful symmetry, great conditioning, great lines. Okay, let's have a look. See, he's looking a bit downsized there, or is it just because he's current shape at 230 pounds? See, he's a little bit downsized, but he's very, very sharp in these pictures. I wonder if he's... Oh, he can't be switched. Please don't switch to Classic. No, don't switch to Classic. Come on, we need you in the open, mate. We need you in the open. This is Alexis. That's him at his biggest. I think he looks amazing there. Oh, he's writing his posts in English now as well. Life isn't about finding yourself, it's about creating yourself. Exactly, Alexis. That's why we want to see you back up in the Olympia, mate, in the top 10, maybe even in the top 6. Where are we? That was... What show's that? That's the one with John De La Rosa. Is that the Toronto? Oh, no, it's Tampa. This was Tampa. That was in 2016. There's John De La Rosa there. There's Akin Williams. Look at Akin Williams looking at him. Hey, bro. Got big arms, bro. But I just like his physique. I think he's got a really nice shape. And I think people have, because with bodybuilding, people tend to get forgotten if they don't compete for even a year. And this guy hasn't competed since 2018. But, let's just remind ourselves how good this guy was and is. So if the rumors are correct and he is making a comeback, I'm, for one, going to be very excited because I've written about him many times in my MD Global Muscle Buzz column, and I really, really hope he comes back because look at that. See, that to me, what do you think? That to me that's a top 6 Olympia physique, isn't it? It should be. Come on.
Probably 7.
What? 7th. Well, yeah, top 10. I mean, he's 11th place in 2018, and I need to find. Sorry.
Not far off.
Yeah, he's not far off. I mean, I'm going to find out more, and I'll do another update next week because maybe I'll reach out to him. Yeah, I'll reach out to him this week, and I'll see what the score is, and I'll speak to, is it Dorian Hamilton, his coach? Look at that. See, this is what I'm talking about. I think that was that when he won Tampa? I mean, look at the striations in his quads. I mean, that's just something that, that kind of all over detail and size and aesthetics. It's sadly too rare sometimes in the open bodybuilding nowadays. But surfing. Oh, he surfs. So I really want to see Alexis Rivera come back and fulfill that amazing potential. So so like I said, I'll find out more and I will report back next week. Okay. Next up is the 1.7 million followers, Blessing Awadiba. Do you think he's bought some of those?
I reckon. Yes,
come on.
And then over time it just exploded.
Yeah, I mean I interviewed Blessing funny enough, I interviewed Blessing in 2017 at the Arnold Europe, and he just won the super heavyweights, and I think he won, was it 3 or 4 big overall amateur championships. He won the Diamond Cup, he won the Arnold Europe in 2017. I'm sure he won the IFBB World Amateur Championships because this was right when the split was happening. But I think he basically qualified for his pro card like 3 or 4 times in one season. In fact, I remember when he was a junior, when he was living in Ireland, when he beat, because I remember, because he won it, and Nicolas Vouliud was 3rd or 4th place, because I was expecting Nicolas Vouliud to walk it, and he ended up getting 4th place. So, but Blessing, since then, obviously he's moved to America, he's part of the Redcon team. He's kind of become, I mean, look at this shot of his back. We put this in the JD Dewadu and Eddie Abu video last week. I mean, look at the back. I mean, he's still yet to make his pro debut, Blessing. But, he's got the support of Redcon. He's obviously doing very well for himself. I don't think that's his car.
Yeah, it could be.
Are you sure? I don't think it is. I think it is. Right, okay, how do we get off this? Okay. Help. Okay. Right, so he is making his pro debut at the New York Pro. Here's the most recent picture of Blessing. Quarter turn Thursday. I have no idea how he's going to do. I mean, he seems... There's this beef going on between him and Nick Walker. Personally, I don't think he's as good as Nick Walker, but then you don't know until they're stood on stage next to each other. Because he's tall, he's wide, he's got small waist. He's got very, very freaky proportions. His conditioning here, I mean, how many weeks out is he here? He's a good few weeks out. And he looks sharp. He looks sharp. The waist is nice and small. Fantastic arms. Kai Green, oh look, see, yeah, giving him Aaron Singer looking crazy. Michael Hearn, oh yes. So he's very well connected as well, this guy. But I remember when he, like I said, he moved from, I think he went from Ireland to, did he go to Dubai? I think is he in Dubai now? No, he's back in Boca Raton now. But yeah, so we're all really, really anticipating the pro debut of Blessing. But like I said, it remains to be seen whether he's one of these guys who looks absolutely phenomenal on Instagram. And whether he'll look as good on stage, we don't know until he steps on stage. It's that simple. So his nickname, the Boogeyman. It's funny. I'll be honest, I like some of his videos, but some I really don't. What's this? What's this? To skip calves. When your homie is trying to skip calves. Okay. Hang on. Gotta shrink it first. When your homie's trying to skip calves. What's he doing? Can you turn it down? Maybe I don't want to get done for copyright again.
What are you doing? We're supposed to be turning calves. Well, it's not what we're...
What's he doing?
OnlyFans? You got OnlyFans?
I do pictures on OnlyFans. Oh no! Oh, he's done it! He smashed the TV. Okay, I find that a bit intense. I'll be honest, that's not my kind of humor. I'm built different. Did you see that kid doing the built different? Yeah. And everyone's taking the piss out of him now, aren't they? See, the waist looks small, but yeah, it looks good. I just hope his physique translates like that, you know, like we're seeing here and on stage, and he really is a contender from the off, because I'd love to see him. Why is he doing this? I'd love to see him make an impact straight away. I mean, look at the back, look at the shoulders, everything. Traps. He's got some crazy proportions, blessing. And yeah, like I said, he's still, well, if he was a junior in 2014, he's probably not even 30 years old yet, is he? No. He's probably, what, 28, 29? So he's around the same age as Nick Walker. Personally, I think Nick will smoke him. Dude's probably going to get a bit of hate for that, but like I said, it's building a lot of hype and a lot of excitement for the New York Pro. Oh, Kai Green, look. Who's that? I don't know who that is. Why is he talking so gangster? He's from Ireland. Oh, it's Kai? Okay. Right, okay. I don't even know how to get off that now. That kind of looks like Phil Heath if you squint. It's actually Kai Green, because you can tell by the hair. So, okay, I can't get back to the original. It's not letting me. Hang on, what do we do? Right, okay. So, yeah, blessing our debut. Let's have a look at this side chest shot. It looks good here. It looks very good. Everything's there. The calves, got good calves. Yeah, everything's there. Just like I said, it just needs to. He's 5 weeks. 3 years of prep is now down to the last 5 weeks. So he's 5 weeks out in this picture. He's exactly where he needs to be for 5 weeks out. I've got to be honest. Yeah, he looks good. I'm looking forward to. I think there's a lot of excitement, a lot of hype around this guy. I think we all want to see him. We all want to see him compete. Very goofy kind of guy, but. A lot of people find him. Extremely entertaining. Sorry. Have you had his pre-workout? What's that? The Boogeyman. Oh, is a pre-workout actually called the Boogeyman? Okay, that's good marketing. Well, that's pretty good marketing. So, right, okay, let's go to our next shout out in the news and shout out segment. This is Justin Rodriguez, the Nightmare. I'm really, really happy to see Justin really fulfilling his potential now. He was top 10 at the Olympia last year. Was he 7th place at the Olympia? I'm sure he was 7th. Was he 7th or 8th? Yeah, he was around that, because I think Hunter was 8th. Dexter Jackson was 9th. Hunter was 10th and Justin was 7th. I'm sure he was 7th. I'll have to go and check. But yeah, and he just narrowly missed out on winning the Chicago Pro. He got beat by Akim Williams. I think Akim had him a little bit on the leg size. But I really, really like Justin's physique. He's one of these guys that 6 weeks out, you think, no way is that guy going to make it. I mean, how many weeks he is there? But he changes. I've never seen a bodybuilder change so fast. He can look small and soft 6 weeks out, and then literally 6 weeks later, he's stepping on stage, and he's looking like that basically picture I just showed you from the Chicago Pro. Yeah, I remember seeing him at the I want to say the 2018 or was it 2017 Arnold Classic where he took 7th, and I just thought this guy has got serious potential. He took 7th place there, but yeah, look at that. Yeah, he's got everything, and he's really coming into his own now. Prepped by AJ Sims, and let's have a look at a training video. I've never really seen him train. I like this shot as well. This is a good one. God, he's putting the size on, isn't he? 8 weeks out. Yeah, so, he's... Yeah, let's have a look at this one. Okay, how many is that? 5? Is that 5 or 6? 5. It's 5 plates. Let's get some sound on. Oh, get that off. I don't want to risk the bloody copyright again. So 5 plates, 5 plates. Oh, he's playing with that. Go a bit deeper there, mate. Yeah, I'm not sure. I suppose it's parallel. Yeah, I suppose it's parallel. Oh, he's playing with that. What's he going to get, like 12, 15 reps with that?
20.
Do you think? How many's he done now?
I lost count.
I like how you made all the plates align. I also do this. Oh, look, with the hexagons, whatever they are.
OCD.
Yeah. See, look, they are perfectly in. I like that. Yeah. No, I like Justin. He's a good guy. And AJ Sims is coach. We had him on MD Globe Muscle. Was it? It wasn't last summer. It was after last summer, wasn't it? God, we're nearly at summer now. We're already in spring.
I didn't feel like it because we were locked down.
You think the year's going slowly?
Fast, actually.
Oh, it's going fast. Yeah, I think it's going fast. Isn't that weird? Like years can go fast or slow, depending. But yeah, so Justin Rodriguez. Oh, he's a guy like Alexis Rivera that I just want to see climb and climb and climb. I would love to see him. I want to see him have another crack at Akeem, because I thought he had the prejudging at the Chicago Pro. But Akeem managed to pull it and fill out enough to really just squeeze past Justin here at the Chicago Pro at the night show. I felt disappointed because I thought Justin had it when I saw all the footage and all the photos from the prejudging. But and then Akeem went and made 6th place at the Olympia, so he's on the up as well. So, yeah, all the best to Justin Rodriguez, and. Yeah, great guy. Good guy. Right, okay, this is your shout-out, Colleen. This is Sean Clarida. What do you want to see, then?
His first post.
You want to see this first post? This is where is this? You said he's left his sponsor.
Yeah, he's got another one now.
Is it all...
if you put play...
Okay.
Sound.
Okay.
Everyone. So this
Turn up a little bit, please, mate.
And my supplement sponsor, NutriBio, have decided to part ways.
Oh, okay.
So they brought me on last February, and right out the gate, guys took very good care of me, supported me 100%, and they had a huge role in my success this past year.
They gave him his own products, didn't they?
And I was very much excited to continue that relationship going into the 2021 season. But unfortunately, when I met with the team, we just saw that we had different goals, different visions for where we saw things going.
Right.
And at that moment, it was best that we part ways. But again, just a huge thank you to Mark, Dan, for the opportunity.
That's good.
For the belief, for the support, and for the experience of being a part of the bio crew, NutriBio, for the time I was with them.
Good, that's classy. I remember when... sorry, can I just turn the sound off? I remember when Flex Lewis left Gaspari, and he did a very similar... He did a written post, actually. And he was equally very classy, thanking, Rich Gaspari and all that for the support. But sometimes, when these athletes have contracts and, and he's taken a big step up, he's now the Olympia champion. He could potentially win several 212 Olympia titles. And maybe the new deal, maybe he just put a new deal forward, and maybe they weren't in a position to afford that, or they didn't, So it's always good to know your worth in this industry. And be also confident enough to walk away and go somewhere where there's better opportunities for you. So, but like I said, it's nice to hear. I really hate it. I remember once there was an athlete, and he left the company and he was bad mouthing it to everyone. But then when he started his own brand, he started hashtagging the old company, and I remember that was very, very frowned upon. That's shitty, isn't it? Yeah. That's really shit behavior. So I like to see this kind of thing, because this kind of, when you leave like this stops supplement companies and what all companies from actually supporting other athletes. So it's very, very important to do classy posts like that where you thank, and even if behind the scenes there has been real tension or whatever, never ever vent on your social media, because this is like a catalogue of what you do and who you are. And if other companies are looking at you, that could be clothing. He's with Gas, but I'm saying for sake of argument, say like a clothing company or a shaker company or an equipment company. If you do something if you do a rant video or something like that, then I guarantee that's not going to open doors. It's going to close doors for you. So keep your business classy, and then you'll always know your worth, and you'll always do well. So any other pictures you want to see of Sean Clarida, mate? Any videos? Or I like Sean's social media, though, because he puts out good quality content. The dumbbells. Which is that one? That one. Jesus. Look at that. Happy Easter. My God. Do you know what? I honestly think there's a lot more to this. What they were? 180s, 150s. I mean, there is a lot to this. He's a 212 Ronnie Coleman, because if you actually look at his body weight, 177 on stage, 10 pounds an inch, and if Ronnie was like 10, 12 inches taller, pound for pound, he's pretty much up there with the Ronnie Colemans for sheer development. And he trains exactly the same as well. Constantly, all free weights, not all free weights, but very heavy, very, let's put some sound on that. Okay. Oh, there we go. Let's have a look. So what these weighing? Oh, 160s. 160s. What's the most you've done? 160. I'm not on about squatting. I've squatted 160 pounds. I've done 130s for flat. I've done them for 6 reps. I've done 110s for incline. No, 121s for incline. Unless I've got video, I could just be completely bullshitting. Go on, Sean. Go on. He's a monster, isn't he? And he trains like this all year round. I love it. I love it. Yeah, there's a guy who's not taking any days off. And, he was at the Dragon's Lair as well. He was at Flex Lewis's new gym. So, can you left to right? Can you left? Who's that?
Flex.
That's not.
Sean Roden.
Sean Roden?
Yeah, Breon.
Yeah. I don't know who that is. I think that's just someone photobombing. Like this. I think this guy's photobombing as well.
I don't know the guy next to him.
I don't know that guy either. That's probably one of the partners or something in the equipment or something. That's Sean.
Yep.
Who's this?
That Brazilian dude, who's got his name. We had him on.
Rafael.
Yeah, that's the one.
Rafa, but Brandeo. And who's that? Clues on the t-shirt. Derek Lunsford, yeah. I tell you what, now Derek's with he's with Hanny Rambod.
Yeah.
I tell you what, I've seen big changes in Derek Lunsford's physique, and I'm gonna say it now. I would be very surprised if Derek Lunsford stays 212 this year, because the amount of size he's put on since working with Hanny Rambod and being on the Evogen team, I'm telling you, I'm suspicious. I'm suspicious. He says he's doing 212, but I don't see it, because I tell you what, Derek is really putting some size on recently.
He does go up, and he's going to be very hard to beat because he's very symmetrical.
I agree. No, I agree. I think he's like Hadi, or I think he could follow. I think he'll look better as an open. I think he flattens out when he crashes down to get under 212.
The vacuum's very good.
The vacuum. I don't think he's pulling the vacuum there, mate.
He can do a vacuum.
Yeah. Okay. It doesn't flex look. It doesn't flex look healthy. You know, I spoke to him a few months ago, and he was saying, like, because he'd had this problems with his gut and his shoulder, and he's been doing a lot of like supplementation in terms of like probiotics and getting the gut bacteria and all that. And he's really started to focus on that, and he looks really good. I've got to say that, and I hope he's doing well. But I'd love to know who this guy is. Who is he? And it's good to see Sean Roden as well, out and about. So I would, do you know what I would love to see? I would love to see Sean Roden move to Vegas, because I think now a lot of the Californian bodybuilders are gonna move here, because you've got Jay Cutler, you've got Iris Carl and Hide opening their gym, you've got the Dragon's Lair, which is basically the new Mecca. I mean, this is already the new Mecca, and it's only been open a week.
I thought you were going to say Sean Roden versus Kai Green on stage.
Oh shit! Oh, Khalib's dropping the mic. Well, do you think Kai's coming back this year?
Well, he's with Dan. Come on.
What? Well, no, Dan just went to see him. I mean, because obviously Redcon are big sponsors of the Olympia.
Dan sees certain people for certain reasons.
Yeah, I personally don't think he will. But of course, but then again, I look at when you showed me the phone when Phil Heath came back. Then I nearly fell off the chair, didn't I? We were editing this. Sorry? I almost passed out because I just did not think it was going to happen. I really, really didn't think that was going to happen. So, okay, so let's have anything else. Well, we know Sean Clarida. He's awesome. He's one of my favorite people, actually, to interview, to do anything with media-wise. He's so professional and he's such a gentleman. And I remember, this is about, when was this? A couple of years ago? And I got dissed by that podcast.
Oh, that one.
No, the first time they dissed me, not the second time. Not the third time. This is the first time. And it really upset me. I was really upset. I was really gutted because what they were saying just was not true. And I was really down. I remember driving back onto the drive, come home, and I checked my phone, and Sean had done a post about like the show and me and what I do for the athletes, and he put he did a separate front page post, and it completely turned my day around. I didn't feel shit anymore. So thank you, Sean. I do appreciate it, mate, and I appreciate you. And thing is, obviously, I'm rooting for Kamal as well. To be honest, I just hope we see like a Jay Cutler Ronnie with Kamal and Sean Clarida for the next few years, because they're such good representatives. And of course, all the other guys are as well. You know, the John Jewetts and the Derek Lunsfords and the, the Angel Calderons. But, these two, they both got an Olympia title each. So, it's, I've got a feeling for the next couple of years, they could be the 1 and 2, flip-flopping potentially at the Olympia. So, right, okay, our next shout-out is, this is Alan Romanowski. He was known on the forum as Sandpig, and he's from Las Vegas, but he passed away last week. He died of cancer, and he was literally posting on the MD forum up to a few days before he died, sadly. And he was, what a great guy, Alan. Which there's no photos of him. No, there's no photos of him. Look, this is his Instagram, and what's he doing? He's just posting about Jay Cutler's supplements, and he wasn't attached to that company. But it's a shame there's no photo that I can show you, because I met him at I'm sure it was a 2017 Olympia, when I was the first Olympia I covered with me and Ron Harris. And he came up and we were chatting for a while, and we interacted on the forum, and he was a much loved member of the forum, the MD Muscular Development Noble Forum for many, many years. And just a really, really good guy. We were all shocked and saddened to hear of his passing. And I know he was a big supporter of Jay Cutler, and he seemed to be quite close with Jay. And I think he went to his gym quite a lot, and he seemed to know a lot about the Olympia as well, because he was based in Las Vegas. But obviously he wasn't a big social media guy, so there's not much I can unfortunately show you. But Alan Romanowski. I just wanted to give some, just a shout out to a guy that was very well liked and very well respected on the MD forum. So sad to see you go, mate. Okay, our next shout out is Ole Christian Vaga from, where's he from? Where's he from? Come on, Ole Christian Vaga.
Ukraine.
No, that's how you say it. That's how you say it, because I got told off for saying it wrong.
Ukraine.
Ole. No. Well, he's obviously Scandinavian. Norway. He's from Norway. We had him on.
I don't know anyone.
Was that in the new? Was it in this studio or the old studio?
I wasn't there, so.
I'm sure, because he dissed us for saying, "No, you can't believe you guys still use Skype." But look at the size of him now. So he's been a bit quiet last year or two. Fucking hell. How to out-angle your own calves, and yes, they do suck also, not only angle. So Ole, he's been like top 10 in some good pro shows, some really good pro shows. And he's not a guy that just looks good on Instagram. He does look very good on stage. I think he turned pro, I'm sure it was 2018, I've got in my head. But he's an absolute monster. I mean, look at this. Cool guy. Look at that. I mean, there's no Photoshop in there, mate. Look at that. He's a big dude. He's tall as well. He's about 5'11", 6 foot. Okay. Yeah. Huge guy. He's prepped by Mauro Sassi from Team Stones, who we had on the other week with Andrea. I want to say Presti. No, Andrea Muzzi. Andrea Muzzi, that's his coach as well. But
He's got a lightning bolt on his pants.
He's got lightning bolt. Mate, when you're that big, you can wear what the hell you want. I mean, I wouldn't wear that out to the supermarket, personally.
Nah, you'd probably get arrested.
Yeah. He's a monster, isn't he? He looks like something out of a Marvel film. Let's have a look at this then. It's a recent video. Monster coach. Oh, he's doing coaching. I am curious. What is the size of your arms? They look so enormous. What did he say? Come on. What's he saying? 58 cold. Fantastic. Really impressive. Clapping hand emoji. What's 58? Is that 58? Obviously centimeters, not inches. That'd be like King Kong's arms. 50. Come on then, who you got? King Kong or Godzilla? If you've seen it, don't tell me, because I'll kill you.
I'm waiting for the cinema to open.
Are you waiting for the cinema?
17th.
Oh, King God. Who are you rooting for?
Hello, Team Lizard.
Yes. Yeah, Godzilla. All the way. So, obviously, we're looking at Ul, so you can tell why we got onto the subject of monsters. Oh, he's a strong fucker as well. Yeah, he's a dragon farmer. That's right. I think he's still with... Second time with squat after sickness, and one can clearly see the legs is filling back out. 6 plates. Let's see what he does with it. Is that the yoke? I don't like those things. Today I did 250 kilos for 10 reps, a back off set on squats, 2 clusters on leg press, and 3 set in each cluster. And 2... Oh, it's very complicated. I just want to see him squat. Look at that. So he's doing 6 plates, 2 reps, 3 plate, 4 reps. How many is that? 4, 5? 5? He's playing with that, isn't he? 6 plates for 10 reps. Wow. I forget what he said he did. I think it was deadlifts. I remember I put some videos in an old show, and he's a ridiculous deadlifter. I mean, he should do with a back that size. Yeah. So 6 plates for 10. And that's his second leg session back after being sick or something. Maybe he had COVID or something. I don't know. Anything you want to see, Kaleem? Any of those? Look at that shot there. Do you know what he'd be good as? He'd be good at the Street Fighter, Zangief. But get a Mohican on him. It's not up for debate, mate. Nope. What do you think you'd make a good? Hulk? It's a bit. Hulk.
I was going to say like a very, very buff hitman.
Yeah, or Bane. Make a good Bane. He looks different now. That must be his lady.
Any good stage pictures?
Or maybe a client of his. Stage pictures. Look at his ass there. Fuck.
Yeah, I don't want to see.
Look at his glutes. Jeez. Look at the condition. Wow. Awesome. Here we are. That was when he turned pro. No. That was Portugal. 2020 has been the first year since 2008 where I haven't stepped on stage as a competitor. So I think this was I think he's meaning 2019 or 2018 here. I think that's 2019 because that's the guy that trained with Brandon Curry when we took Brandon on the Olympia All-Star Tour. That's the guy from Portugal. He's actually from London, but he's Portuguese. There's Lucas Asladel. But yeah, so he comes down well. He looks good on stage, this guy. He's not one of these Instagram guys who looks amazing on Instagram and then shit on stage, you know. But he's got nice cars as well. Yeah, look at that. Wow, that's a beast. Come on, I want another brake horsepower. Oh, come on, boring. I want to see the car. Seen enough of your body, mate. Oh, it's some kid he's been training. But yeah, he's got a good job. I forget what he does now. Something I can't remember now. I'll just be guessing. So funny guy as well. He's not doing so many funny posts he used to. He used to do ones of him sat on like a little kiddie trikes and stuff. And but I think maybe I'm guessing he's broke the trikey. What? Yeah. Oh shit. Yeah. Right. Okay. That's enough of Ule. 127,000 followers. Team Stone's athlete, Gorilla Wear USA. So he's sponsored by Gorilla Wear as well. Right, okay, going to go to our final shout-out sort of thing called Who is the Best Bodybuilder? Right, okay, I'm going to have a bit of fun with this one. Right, okay, Carleen, you need to give me your answer. Who is the best bodybuilder? Sean Roden or Flex Wheeler? It's a tough one, isn't it?
I hate you.
It's tough, isn't it?
I hate you.
What would you go? I tell you what. Oh, you don't know the name. You don't know the years. Like a 2018 Sean Roden versus 98 Arnold Flex Wheeler. Who you got? Come on, guys. Put on the comments. Let me know who you think. 2018 Sean Roden or 1998 Arnold Classic Flex Wheeler. Who's the best? Please put it on the comments below. I mean, I can't answer that. I think I might have to go with Flex Wheeler 98.
I was going to go for Flex Wheeler, yeah.
Yeah, Flexatron versus Flex Wheeler. So who else should we do? Who else should we do? Come on. Oh, watch out, Brandon. Okay, too long editing for today. Oh, that would hurt, wouldn't it?
Nah, you'd be fine.
Yeah. Oh, this is... I tell you what this is. This is Ronnie Coleman, and this is Ronnie Coleman in 1990. I think this is at the... Is this at the IFBB World Amateur Championships when he turned pro, and he won it drug-free. And I think that is, I want to say 93. I want to stop compared the GOATs with others. Why not? This Ronnie would whoop anyone in classic physique. Ronnie said he was natty here. Yeah, he was. He was natty for another... Natty. Ugh, hate that phrase. But look, I mean, you could see... Oh, God, Phil was so good even so young, wasn't he? But yeah, so that was the start of two of the greatest bodybuilders of all time there.
I'll go for Ronnie.
You go for Ronnie? Sorry, I forgot we were actually comparing them. You go for Ronnie?
Yes.
Yeah. Ronnie's got the superior structure, isn't he? But Phil...
Even from his relaxed pecs, they look popping.
Yeah, he's got obviously the shoulder to waist is it's not comparable. But Phil was just starting to come into, it was 2005 he turned pro when he won the USAs, and then 2006 he won 2 pro shows the following year. And 2008 he won the Pro Ironman, 2011 he won his first Olympia, and then he won 7 in a row. So, I mean, okay. I think this is 2013. No, this isn't fair because that's 2013 Phil Heath, which was probably the biggest version of Phil Heath. And I think that's the 2016, I want to say the 2016 Arnold Classic, which was Kai Green's last show, I think. Who's the better one? Is that 2013 Olympia Phil or 2016 Arnold Classic Kai Green? Who you got?
Phil.
Yeah, Phil. Yeah, Phil told me about how he prepped for that 2013 because he knew that Kai was coming up on his ass because Kai had come second in 2012 at the Olympia the year before. And he told me about how he prepped. He said he did a lot of compound movements and lower like 6 to 8 reps. And he said he bumped everything up, everything, all his nutrition, everything, because he knew he wanted to come in bigger so he could stay ahead of Kai Green. And it worked. It was, Kai gave him, there were 3 second places there from Kai Green, 2012 to 2014. But look at Phil's waist there as well. Look how tight it is there, how small it is. I mean, that's incredible. I like that. I did like that freaky version of Phil Heath, actually. Who? Phil? I don't know. I don't think so. I'd like to see him do another one. I'd like to see him come back again. But which one? That one. Oh, Johnny Jackson, Dexter Jackson. Well, come on, Dexter all day, innit? Yeah. It's not even... how is that... I see this. This is the version of Ronnie I like. 2004 Russian. Wow. Oh, the lies of social media. Oh, obviously that... it's photoshopped. It's photoshopped. Still, that is bloody impressive. I mean, that's ridiculously photoshopped. Wow, okay. But the one before was pretty freaky as well. I can tell you exactly what... That's from the 2011 New York Pro, and that is from the 2019 Vancouver Pro. That's Hadi Choopan versus Kai Green. So you've got... Do you want me to tell you a story about that? George Farah prepped Kai Green for that, and he was only allowed to go back on gear 8 weeks before. No, because his blood work was coming. George Farah told me, he said his blood work was coming back, and he said he wasn't happy with it. And he says, you can't go on. And he says, but George, I'm prepping, I'm dieting. So he was already dieting and prepping for the New York Pro in 2011. So only went on stuff 8 weeks before. That's what I was told by his coach. So, and he even at 90, 85, 90, because that's Kai Green only 85, 90%, and he still won the New York Pro, like hands down easily. I mean, it was just, sorry? Oh yeah, sorry, that's the question. I keep forgetting. Oh shit. I'd say 2019 Vancouver Hadi, I think he would beat the 2011 version of Kai Green. I really do. Because this wasn't Kai at his best, but this was Hadi at his best.
Even though he's got the funny shoulders.
On stage, Kai would be far too much for Hadi. Yeah, the shoulders. No, to be honest, I remember I think it was Kamal telling me a couple of years ago he was going on about the shoulder issue with Hadi, with the stuff going in it. And I didn't see it that much at the time. And I've got a good eye for these kind of things. And then I started looking a lot closer. And in that rear double bicep, what he's done there, you can see the shine there. That's how you can always tell when they've put in stuff in their shoulders. It creates like a funny shine, and you can't see the detail in the muscle. See the detail there, but you can't see it there. And then it kind of ruins, because it makes his rear double bicep his only weak pose, had he. So if he didn't do that, he would be good in every single compulsory pose. That's my point. But yeah, I like these. They're good, these are. Okay, we'll do one more, and then we will go. Why have they got the same people next to each other? Oh, Dennis James and... Oh, I can't do that. No, I can't. They're friends. I can't diss a legend like... Look at Ronnie, man. Holy shit. Oh, this is Photoshop. If this photo has Photoshop, I don't think it is, you know. I don't think there's Photoshop on that. Guys, again, on the comments, tell us. I don't think... Yeah, there's something going on in the lats, isn't there? But then again, that's the 2003 Ronnie who... I mean, he was a walking Photoshop that year. That's how he looked when, you know, you saw him with your own eyes. But, I like this. I like this page. It's good. Good. Right, okay, well, we'll leave it at that, and I'm going to be going for ages now. So, yeah, give who is the best BB, as in who is the best bodybuilder, give them a follow. 22.3 thousand followers. I like stuff like this because at the end of the day, bodybuilding, it's a sport of comparison, and it's a subjective sport. So that's what makes it very interesting. Okay, guys, I hope you've enjoyed this episode. As always, we appreciate the support. So thank you for watching. Thank you for supporting. And guys, we are out.